Utilice los iPads ubicados en el vestíbulo. Para reuniones en otros sitios, complete una tarjeta azul para su comentario y entréguela a un empleado de South Coast AQMD. Los comentarios serán limitados a un total de 3 minutos o menos para cada punto de la agenda. El tiempo límite puede ser reducido para asegurar que se puedan escuchar todos los comentarios. Se mostrará un temporizador de cuenta regresiva en la pantalla para cada comentario público. Se asignará más tiempo para traducción al español no simultáneo. Si tiene preguntas o problemas sobre cómo hacer un comentario público, llame al asesor público al 909-396-3247. Eso es 909-396-3247. Respete el tiempo límite y favor de tratar a los demás con cortesía, civilidad y respeto. De lo contrario, es posible que se silencie el micrófono o que sea retirado de la reunión. Tenga en cuenta que esta reunión está siendo grabada. Al participar, usted autoriza la grabación del contenido audiovisual presentado durante el evento en vivo y acepta el uso posterior de la grabación en el dominio público por parte de South Coast AQMD.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our August board meeting. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Supervisor Perez will lead us in that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Please join me in saluting our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll start with some board member comments. I'm going to let Vice Chair Cacciotto lead us in a special presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I may have a picture first of this past Monday. The South Pasadena Police Department became the first police department in the United States, probably the world. This is right next to SpaceX, actually. This is at Unplugged Performance, where they upfit Tesla vehicles, but this Tesla vehicle was outfitted with the South Pasadena Police Department to become a Tesla patrol vehicle, the first all-electric, battery-electric police fleet in the United States. So thank you to all the people for participating in that. And now, a quick demonstration. The chair asked you one thing. We've got a number of interns in the audience. You said, please keep in touch and come back. I heard from all the interns in the back. You learned a lot. I heard a lot of inspiration. As Wayne said, we have incredible hope for the future. But I heard a couple of people say, I learned and I'll do something later on. No, I want all of you, I'm going to follow up and supplement the chair. We're a great team here, all of the board members. We want you to do something now in your neighborhoods, at your home. You're going to hear today about a program, Go Zero about appliances at your home. But I'm going to show you something. I'd like my 3 interns to come up front, please, right now in this little bay. So at the AQMD, we have a number of incentive programs. There's a lot of talk today. We've got dual. We have incentive programs for trucks, for cars, for lawn equipment. What can you do right now if you have a home, live in an apartment or a condo? Tim lives in an apartment, my neighbor. You can tell your gardener, your neighbor, dirty, polluting lawn equipment because one gas leaf blower, this is battery, but one gas leaf blower is like driving a Toyota Camry from here to Denver. That much pollution comes out of this exhaust because there's no pollution controls on a leaf blower like they are in your car. So here's something you can do in your neighborhood, get them to go electric, and look at this. This little leaf blower, Susan, thank you. Probably use about, over its lifetime, 300 gallons of gas. It was a gas leaf blower. But with this one right here, this battery is instead of 300 gallons of gas and dozens of quarts of oil, not to mention dirty filters. So this plug-in, and it'll last anywhere from 3 to 8 years. I can turn this on and look at the power. Bro, good job. Thank you, guys. You can do something right now.
All right. Yeah.
Blow us away. Hey, get that away from him.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Vice Chair. Great way to start the meeting. All right. Other board member comments? We've got Board Member Krakow.
Tough act to follow, Vice Chair. I do want to just appreciate the Vice Chair for the event in South Pasadena. Had the opportunity to attend that, and it's really a groundbreaking effort and would not have happened without you, Vice Chair, your indefatigable, never give up attitude, trying to find the right manufacturer for those police cars, not giving up, and just a good-natured way in which you do everything. We learned so much from you. Also, Mayor McCowan was there, and who's becoming a bit of his own legend in air quality issues between his service here and on the MSRC and also MetroLink. And did want to just thank also your staff, Vice Chair Cacchiotti, Ken Chalkins, Ben Wong, Bill Kelly, for putting together a really great event the other day in South Pasadena.
All right. Supervisor Mitchell.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. Again, want to acknowledge the interns. So glad they had a wonderful summer, and maybe it's a sign of me getting old. I look for opportunities for inspiration for our future, and I certainly had it this morning. I also felt inspired when I just stuck my head in the 2 overflow rooms and to see the members of the public who are here to engage in this process. Madam Chair, I'd also, before we begin, just want to congratulate staff on the historic award, $500 million that our region received recently through the Climate Pollution Reduction Grant, through the Biden administration's Inflation Reduction Act. I know our teams work very hard. Along with my family members at LA County and many other cities, counties, and agencies. And it's no small feat in and of itself. And the result was the largest climate pollution reduction grant in the country. This award will clearly be transformative for goods movement in our region. It will clean the air in communities that desperately need it. It will create jobs and train people to do those jobs. It will drastically reduce carbon emissions in a sector that's been hard to decarbonize. So it's a critical investment in future generations, and it wouldn't have happened without many, many long hours and important collaboration, cross-jurisdictional collaboration. And I just wanted to acknowledge that today. It's a big deal. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have one more, Mayor Solache.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, for that enthusiastic icebreaker this morning. But to follow up your presentation, I know that my staff is working with AQMD staff to put together a day, I believe it was in Southgate, so we could approach community members that use these landscaping tools to do their work. As you all know, these are community members that are out there in their communities, going to the west side, to the San Gabriel Valley, to Long Beach, whatever parts of the community, doing landscaping work. My uncle himself is a landscaper, and that's what he does for a living. So I know that, we had an event like this in Linwood last year, where you and I were there testing all this equipment. So it's very important as we transition community into these more, healthier tools to use, that we are, cognizant and we're conscientious that it affects community directly. And these are people's livelihoods that are out there doing landscaping work every day, Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday. And so having this possible event on a Saturday that I know staff is coordinating to make sure that people know that these products are out there, how they get the incentives. So again, just to bring it to community, it's very critical. So just again, wanted to highlight that following your icebreaker this morning. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, now in my excitement to get the meeting started, I did neglect to do a roll call. So if we could please do roll call.
Mayor Locke Dawson.
Present.
Supervisor Doe is absent. Supervisor Hagman. Board Member Krakow.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem McCowan.
Here.
Supervisor Mitchell.
Present.
Board Member Padilla Campos.
Present.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Councilmember Rahman.
Here.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Here.
Mayor Solache.
Present.
Vice Chair Caccioli.
Here.
And Chair Delgado.
And I'm here.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll go to Wayne Nastri to give us a summary of any events that he thinks we should hear about. And then if you could also include just a quick summary of where we are with the port issue.
Sure. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So today, as has been noted, marks the final day of our student internship program. And I know those that were available to be there, it was very exciting. And we really want to thank all of the student interns and all the staff who made it such a wonderful experience for them. And we wish them all the best as we move forward. And here's a picture of a lot of those interns that we saw that are such a promising and bright future for all of us. The next item that I wanted just to touch on, because we have a few pictures, but to add on to what Supervisor Mitchell said, we truly had a historic day last week where we did receive $500 million from US EPA as part of the CPRG. As the supervisor noted, it is the largest single CPRG grant award in the nation. It is also the largest single grant award from EPA's Office of Air and Radiation. So it truly is significant. And as the supervisor noted, it was a tremendous effort. Over 15 signatories, 78 support. It was just a tireless effort by staff, by so many agencies that I have to acknowledge: the City of Los Angeles, the County of Los Angeles, SCAG, City of Long Beach, all these different groups, the transit, the metro, and all these groups work together. When I was at the National Association of Clean Air Agencies, people asked me, what did we do? And I told them all of the things that we did in terms of the outreach. Staff working literally till past midnight for weeks on end to put together this proposal. And in the words of the regional administrator who said to me, this was truly a transformational grant application. And so it just, I think, reflects the hard work of our staff, of the leadership of the board, for the federal government to recognize that it needs to make these kind of investments here in our region. So we're very happy. And I have another slide, I think, on this one. So right before we did the CPRG announcement, one of the things under Senator Padilla's leadership has been the desire for the federal government to do more. And that has been a thought that you all have shared with us. And we were able to work not only with Senator Padilla, but with Representative Aguilar and many members of Congress to work with EPA to really address the federal sources. Primarily, how are we going to come into attainment when so much of the sources of our pollution is coming from those federal sources? And so a letter of commitment was signed where collectively the South Coast AQMD, the California Air Resources Board, and the US EPA each pledged to work together in a collaborative fashion to accelerate emission reductions. And Chair Delgado signed on behalf of the South Coast AQMD, Board Chair Leanne Randolph from the California Air Resources Board signed on behalf of CARB, and Joe Goffman signed on behalf of US EPA. South Coast committed to accelerating the amount of reductions by about 4.5 tons, as well as CARB also committed to accelerate reductions by additional 5 tons. We're still working on getting those additional commitments from EPA as we move forward, but we know under the leadership of Senator Padilla and so many others in Congress that we are in a much better position as we continue to move forward to reach attainment. And then finally, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was we do have an all-community steering committee meeting event. That is on Saturday, August 24th. It'll be a good part of the day, and all of the AB 617 communities that we have are invited, and we'll be celebrating a lot of the community success that has been realized with this program. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm sorry, you also asked about where we are. As you know, we've been working very diligently on our efforts with regards to rail yards. You're about to hear on those today. We continue our efforts with regards to the ports, meeting and working with stakeholders, and I hope that we will have a working group meeting in September. So with that, we're committed to move forward as directed by the board, and appreciate everybody's leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, very excited to get that moving forward, and hopefully we can have some sort of public interaction on the ports in September. Before we move on to the agenda, I wanted to ask if we could move item 26 to follow the general public comments to accommodate all those who are joining us today. If there's no issue, we'll go ahead and do that. And also to be respectful for everybody's time and any quorum issues, we're going to limit speaking to 1.5 minutes. If that presents a hardship to something you've prepared, definitely just let us know and we'll consider that. So with that, we'll go to general public comments. We have 2 speakers here, and then the vice chair will take any online comments. So I'm going to start with Kendra Buck, who is here with us today. And these are items not on the agenda. We have Kendra, who is our first speaker. If Kendra's feeling, oh, there she is.
Hello, my name is Kendra Buck, and I'm here on behalf of Mother Earth. I'm here to ask that you adopt the rail yard indirect source rule, which will require every new and existing rail yard in the South Coast to reduce their lethal emissions
I'm
and set a
sorry.
path toward a
I'm
zero
sorry.
emissions future.
Kendra?
Excuse me. Sorry, this is general public comment. It's not on the rail yard yet.
Oh, okay.
So this is on any non-agendized item. So you would comment when we get to item 26.
All right. Well, peace.
Thank you. Sorry.
Luciano, are you also here for the railroad? That's going to be the next item. Okay, all right, we'll bring you back. Okay, with that, we'll take those online.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, for those online, if your hands raised, this is for general public comment, items that are not on our agenda, particularly the railroad ISR. So I see 2 hands raised. Our first speaker, again, non-agenda items, you have 1.5 minutes. Mike Bullock. Go ahead, please, Mike.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chair and board members. I appreciated the opening comments However, I don't think they really reflect where humanity is right now. We have a code red climate emergency, and that's according to the Secretary General of the UN. And I'm going to quote him a couple more times. He says that we are solidly on a path to an unlivable planet. And that's not an exaggeration. You've talked about the future. You showed us pictures of all your interns and talk about that means a great future. We do not have a future right now. We have to meet a climate stabilization requirement in 2030. That is very soon. We live and so he has also said that we are dangerously close to the point of no return. And that's why we have a code red climate emergency, because 2030 is coming right up. And your comments don't reflect that, and don't reflect the fact that we are so lucky because California actually has a plan to meet that 2030 climate mandate the climate scientists give us. It's a requirement. We have to do it. And the plan says how to do it. But you're not talking about it. Now, you have employees, and the plan, which is the carbon scoping plan, says we have to price parking.
Thank you, Mike, for those comments. Next speaker is Ranji George. Ranji, you've got 1.5 minutes. Go ahead, please, Ranji.
Good morning, board members. My name is Ranji George. I want to echo the previous speaker's comments. I thought he was giving some very important, sharing some very important information. I wish he wasn't cut off. Thank you. Please, I would like the board to echo more on climate change. I know your main target is reduce pollution, and that's important, but the board is strangely quiet for the last 20, 30 years on climate change issues. Yeah, and it is of imperative that AQMD lends its voice in a thunderous way on this issue. We are seriously behind targets. The world is really churning left, right, and center. You can see that the hurricane. So I hope with this grant came under climate change, you would pursue renewables, wind, solar, hydrogen in a much more aggressive manner. And please, you have given so much money for natural gas project. It's time to scale down that and move into the cleanest technologies. So I urge the board members also to publish who got these grants, how are they going to be divided, because some of us are not in the know how the grants are going to be divided. And I urge that the climate change will be a big component of these grants. So thank you.
Raji, thank you. But just to be clear, and I want to thank Supervisor Perez for spearheading this, we do have a climate change committee that meets quarterly, just started several months ago. Supervisor Perez, and at the chair's acceptance, is leading that charge. So thank you, Raji. Our next speaker, it looks like our last speaker. At this point, I will close the public comment portion period because there's only one more hand up. Ezra, go ahead, please. Ezra, you have 1.5 minutes. Again, this is our last speaker for general public comment. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Sanchez. I signed in with my daughter's Zoom on accident. But when I got here, there was something that I noticed from the last meeting that we were here at. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I noticed that the people that are here to leave public comment can't bring water in here. We have elders here with mobility issues, and I can see you all have your Pellegrino, you have your water. I love Pellegrino. We're not asking to bring lattes in here. We're asking for water. There's small children here that have to go outside. I want you all to revisit your policy on having water. We're not asking for very much. We're asking for water. So if the board can allow us to have our water here today, I would like for you to talk to, who did I get their business card? Gallegos in the front, and allow him to allow us to bring some water in here. We have elders with canes that have to walk in and out to be able to drink. I love that you all have your coffees. I love that you all have your water, but we're asking for water today. So I would appreciate it if you all allowed us to bring water in. We're not less thirsty than you all. We're not more thirsty than you all. We would just like some water.
No, I think that's a very good point. Is there a reason why we can't let people have water?
I mean,
I'm
there's
sh-
water in here. There's water in here. So can we please bring our water bottles in? Applause.
Chair, I'm sure there are reasons that relate to just keeping everything in working order, but we can certainly, if you like, allow people to bring in water.
Please, yes, if we can bring water, that'd be great. All right. Now we're going to move item 26, which is the railroad issue, up on the agenda, and I ask staff to give the presentation. This is a public hearing. You don't need to sign up to speak on this. You can just come up, but we do have 95 speakers who've already signed up.
Right. Good morning, Chair, and also members of the board. My name is Elaine Shen. I am Planning and Rules Manager. Next slide, please. So I'm here to present to you today two newly proposed rules. So the first rule is the proposed rule 2306, also known as the Freight Rail Yard Indirect Source Rule. So this rule will reduce smog-forming NOx emissions in our region that are associated with the mobile sources associated with the freight rail yards operation. And the proposed rule 316.2 is the companion fee rule. Next slide, please. And so these two rules are really many, many years in the making. During the process, we have conducted extensive public outreach as well as engagement. And we have provided 16 updates to the Mobile Source Committee as well as 5 updates to the full board. Next slide, please. And so we know that there's a suite of facility-based mobile source measures that are included in the recent air quality management plans. So all these facility-based mobile source measures, they are designed to work together to collectively address the freight emissions within our region. So we all know that the emissions from the goods movement industry accounts for about half of all the NOx emissions from the mobile sources in our region. So in order to attain this clean air quality standards, there's very little that we can do if we do not address all of these freight emissions in our region. So the proposed rule 2306 will implement the facility-based mobile source measure for rail yards. It is designed to work closely together in locksteps with the CARB's landmark regulations that they adopted last year to address emissions from locomotive fleet as well as the truck fleets, respectively. And this proposed rule is also going to implement many SERP actions that have been adopted by the board for several of those of our AB 617 communities. Next slide, please. So there's a variety of mobile sources associated with freight rail yard operations. In addition to locomotives, as well as dredge trucks, there's also CHE, that is the cargo handling equipment, that is used to load, unload, as well as move cargo around the facility. And we also have TRU, that stands for Transportation Refrigeration Units. So they basically turn a container or a rail car into this giant mobile fridge in order to transport or to store the temperature-sensitive goods. And there can be also other supporting equipment that's used on site to support the overall operations of the freight rail yards. So today, we estimate that there's a total of 22 tons per day of NOx emissions that come from these mobile sources associated with freight rail yard operations. So freight locomotives, they account for the lion's share of the total emissions, as you can see on the pie chart in this slide, and that's followed by dredge truck emissions. And the remainder goes to TRU, CHE, and other supporting equipment. And this total of 22 tons per day of NOx emissions, they are significant because they account for nearly 9% of the total basin-wide NOx emissions that we have projected for this year, 2024. Next slide, please. And so currently, we have identified about 25 known freight rail yard facilities in our region that could be potentially subject to proposed Rule 2306. And so all of those facilities are being shown on this map here. And the proposed Rule 2306 is going to apply to the owners as well as the operators of these facilities that you see here. And it will also apply to any of the non-federal public agencies who contract with the freight rail yards. And so one example would be the Joint Powers Authority that contracts with Union Pacific in order for the railroad to operate the ICTF intermodal facility that's down at the ports area. So ICTF, you can see that on the left bottom corner of this map. Next slide, please. And so we know in 1998, CARB signed this MOU with the two Class 1 railroads operating in our region in order to reduce the NOx emissions coming out from locomotives, specifically in the South Coast Air Basin from year 2010 and onwards. And in the interim, we have also seen that US EPA has adopted more and more stringent locomotive emission standards. So the latest and the most stringent standard is Tier 4, and you can see the Tier 4 standard that's been denoted by the green dash line that's at the bottom of this chart that you can see on the slide. And so that the level is about 1.3 gram per brake horsepower per hour. But if you see the average locomotive emissions from the Class 1 railroads locomotives that is being denoted by the blue solid line at the very top of this chart. You see that for the past 10 years, past decade or more actually, so that line has not really been changed much. It hovers around the Tier 2 standards, that's the red dash line there that you can see, that's about 5.5. And so when we look at the latest data up to year 2023, that flat line has not really changed at all. So we have actually seen very little Tier 4 locomotives among the Class 1 railroads national fleet. But even worse is that, like compared to the nationwide average, we have seen even less Tier 4 locomotives that have been deployed to the South Coast Air Basin. And in the meantime, we have also observed in recent years, there's more and more locomotive work that has been conducted by the dirtiest locomotives. So there will be Tier 1, Tier 0, even unregulated locomotives that are used in our region more today than a decade ago. Next slide, please. So I mentioned earlier that CARB adopted the landmark regulations last year, that we have no doubt they are going to reduce emissions statewide by a lot and very significantly. We have no doubt about that. But from the implementation of the past statewide regulations, we are not really sure that there's a guarantee for proportional emission reductions within our region. So one example will be the implementation of CARB's truck and bus regulation. So this regulation has a phasing schedule over several years. So by the 2023 deadline, all the trucks that are operating in California, they will have to be model year 2010 or newer. But then in those years leading up to the 2023 deadline, we have seen different performances across large active air districts within our region, or even compared to the state average. So that's being shown on this chart on this slide. And so this chart, what it is showing is how much dirtier locomotives, or those pre-2010, sorry, not locomotives, those dirtier pre-2010 drayage trucks that were still operating on the street in different large air districts, as well as across the state. So the green dashed line that you see on this chart, it represents the state average. And the red solid line represents the South Coast AQMD performance. So you see in 2019, we're pretty much on par with the state average. But over time, when these regulations is being phased in, that we are lagging more and more behind the state average. And the gap between our air district and other large air districts, the gap has been wider and wider over time. And next slide, please. And that's why we see that there's a need for proposed 2306 to come into play. And so the proposed 2306 contains a series of NOx, percent NOx emission reductions that are set based on the percent NOx emission reductions from the statewide implementation of the two landmark regulations that were adopted by CARB last year. By setting the emission reduction targets this way in the proposed Rule 2306, we can ensure that proportional or more emission reductions that can occur not only within our region, the South Coast AQMD region, but we can actually also make sure that there will be proportional or more emission reductions at every single freight rail yard within our region. Next slide, please. So this slide summarizes the proposed Rule 2306 of the freight rail yard ISR. There's a lot of information in here, so I'm going to take some time to walk you through this slide. And so as you see on the top blue box here, so this rule is not only going to apply to existing freight rail yard facilities that you see on the map that I showed earlier, it will also apply to any new freight rail yards that will be coming online in the future. And so if you move to the yellow box on the left, the emission reduction obligations for the freight rail yards, they will be the responsibility of the freight rail yard operators. So they are required to show that they meet or exceed the percent NOx emission reductions targets that I talked about earlier. And they have to do this every 3 years for each milestone year. So I mentioned earlier that these emission reduction targets are set based on the state rules. But the freight rail yards, they can actually comply with these emission reduction requirements, not only from dredge trucks and locomotives, as well as from more of the mobile sources that are associated with their freight rail yards operations. And this rule also includes multiple compliance pathways. But it doesn't matter which compliance pathway the facility chooses, they will all ensure that there will be NOx emission reductions at the facility level. And so these operators will need to submit reports as well as detailed data to us to demonstrate how much NOx emission reductions have been actually achieved at the facility level, and then show that whether they have met or exceeded this percent NOx emission reductions target. And now let's move to the right-hand side, the gray box. So this gray box includes all other key provisions of this proposed rule. So on the top, you can see that both the owners as well as the operators, they both need to report on the facility's zero emission infrastructure implementation. So that includes the planning efforts, developmental status, as well as the utilization of this infrastructure. And they also need to provide to us regular updates to see if they have made any progress along the way. In addition, in any of these reports, if there's a need that's being identified that they will need more power being supplied to the facility so that they actually need grid upgrades by their local electrical utilities, they must request this kind of grid upgrade from their utilities. And I mentioned earlier that the rule also applies to the non-federal public agencies. So their responsibility is to include the compliance with proposed Rule 2306 in their contracts with the freight rail yards. And notably, the rule includes 2 exemptions as well. And so the first exemption applies to very low use facilities. And so this kind of facilities, they are not being really used much. There are not a lot of activities going on at these facilities, and most of them, we believe that they are just being used to store rail equipment on site. And the second exemption that we have here would apply to certain, but not all, right? Port-owned and operated facilities. So more specifically, those are the on-dock rail facilities located on marine terminals, as well as any other port-owned or operated rail facilities that are used only for the purpose of on-port switching activities. We believe that these facilities, they are integral to the overall operation of the marine ports. And we would not like these facilities to have to comply with emission reduction obligations that will come from the implementation of multiple facility-based mobile source measures. And now let's move to the bottom of this slide. So the pinkish box at the bottom shows this very unique feature of Proposed Rule 2306. So it is only effective, it will become effective only upon US EPA approval of 3 items. So the first item is that US EPA approval to include Proposed 2306 in the California State Implementation Plan. And the second item is the approval of CARB's requested authorization for CARB's in use locomotive regulation. And the third item is CARB's request for the federal waiver as well as authorization for CARB's advanced clean trucks, advanced clean fleets regulation. So only after all 3 approvals have been achieved, then the rule will come into effect. Next slide, please. And so as I mentioned earlier, we have very extensive public process. We have received a lot of really valuable comments and feedback from all stakeholders. And in the meantime, we believe that we have also addressed and resolved many of the issues that have brought to staff's attention. So this and next slides, we will be going through some key remaining issues. So from the community members, we have heard from them loud and clear that they would like to know if this rule is adopted when it goes into effect, then how are they going to know that this rule is actually working, right? And so how much emission reductions are being achieved and what facilities? They would like to know about that. So in the board resolution that we present to you today, we ask you to direct staff to consult and also work with the public to identify an appropriate approach so that we can make those required data that's submitted to us to make them not only accessible, but most importantly, digestible to the general public, barring any business confidentiality restrictions. And regarding the second issue, we also heard from the committee members as well as environmental advocates that they would like to see stronger emission reduction targets for this rule. So we want to acknowledge that we all know the importance and the benefits that can be achieved if we bring the emissions all the way down to 0. That's something that all of us would like to see. But I do want to emphasize again that Proposed Rule 2306 is designed to complement the 2 CARB regulations, the landmark regulations. And so with this kind of design, we actually can see by year 2037, up to 82% of NOx emission reductions already for our region. And so which is really a lot, especially considering that we saw that flat line of the locomotives that have been operating in our region for the past decade or more. Next slide, please. And so we also have heard about concerns that when we design these facility-based mobile source measures, how are they actually working together? Will there be any overlapping requirements between Proposed Rule 2306 and other facility-based measures? So the short answer is no. So these facility-based mobile source measures, they are designed to work together, but in the meantime, each single one of these facility-based measure is designed to be applicable only to one specific type of freight facilities. So that will include, for example, freight rail yards, warehouses, as well as marine ports. And so one specific type of facility wouldn't be subject to multiple of these measures. And that is the reason why we included the exemption for certain port-owned or port-operated facilities that I mentioned earlier in the slide. And so each facility, they only need to be concerned about the emissions associated with their facility. They don't need to be concerned about what actions, what's happening at other facilities. But because these mobile sources associated with each facility operation, they do go between different facilities. And that's the nature of the goods movement industry. And that's why the facility-based mobile source measures, they need to be designed together to collectively address these emissions, right? And so any action that's taken by one facility, that can actually also help emission reductions at another facility if the mobile source actually travels between these facilities. Next slide, please. And so if the board adopts the proposed rules today, the board resolution would direct staff to conduct several activities in the future. So the first activity is that the staff will come back to have a status update to the Mobile Source Committee next year in March or in April on the status of the federal approvals that we mentioned earlier on those 3 items. And when we have a clear status about the federal approval, then, and once the specific effective date of the proposed Rule 2306 is known to us, then we'll conduct facility outreach to make sure that the affected facilities are well aware of the rule requirements. And finally, after we have conducted the public outreach and work with the public to identify a way for data access, then we'll also come back to report to the Mobile Source Committee to recommend an approach to do this. Next slide, please. And so again, I mentioned earlier that by 2037, we expect up to 82% of the NOx emission reductions in our region from the proposed Rule 2306 in conjunction with state regulations. And so that would translate to about, on average, 10.5 tons per day of NOx reductions over the period of 2027 to 2050. And that, again, can be translated into every year, 300 premature deaths avoided, as well as 2,100 ER visits and hospital admissions avoided. And at the chart at the bottom here, we show the emission reductions that will be coming from the implementation of the 2 state regulations along with proposed Rule 2306. So the emission reductions will be the differences between the blue bars as well as the yellow bars. And I want to emphasize here is that without proposed Rule 2306, there is no guarantee by implementing the state regulations alone, we will get all the way down to a yellow bar or even below. So that's the importance that we have proposed Rule 2306 here to guarantee that at least proportional emission reductions. Next slide, please. In terms of CEQA, so proposed Rule 2306 relies on the CEQA analysis that we previously conducted for 2022, as well as the 2016 AQMPs. And in the staff report include more than 100 pages of substantial evidence to demonstrate that this approach is adequate. And in terms of proposed Rule 316.2, because it's a fee rule, it is being exempt from the CEQA requirements. And you might wonder what the cost impacts would be from the implementation of these proposed rules. We actually expect very nominal incremental cost from the implementation of proposed Rule 2306, because most of them are already analyzed and then can be attributed to the implementation of those 2 statewide regulations. But in the staff report, we do conduct a what-if cost analysis. So the what-if is what if the 2 state regulations are proportionally implemented within our region. So it boils down to about $4 million per year per facility if the 2 state rules are actually implemented here. And again, this is not attributable to the proposed Rule 2306, but it is the proportional cost to implement the state regulations. And the new incremental cost of these two proposed rules, they are all associated with the reporting and notification requirements for this rule package. And it boils down to about $15,000 per facility per year. Next slide, please. And so over the past week, after we have released the board package, we continue to receive numerous comment letters that have come to our way. And the majority of those comment letters come from the community members as well as environmental advocates, expressing their support for the adoption of the two proposed rules. In the meantime, we also have received one comment letter from the Association of the American Railroads. And in fact, this is their second comment letter. And we believe that we have already responded to most of the same comments that they have sent to us previously. And we believe that our district council has also submitted a memo to the board related to the AAR or the railroad's arguments, legal arguments. And we have posted that legal memo on our website for everybody's access. So in conclusion, staff recommends that the board adopt the resolution to determining that the proposed Rule 2306 does not require a new environmental document, determining that the proposed Rule 316.2 is exempt from CEQA, and adopting Rule 2306 and Rule 316.2, as well as approving the proposed Rule 2306 calculation methodology and data appendix, which is a companion document to the Rule 2306. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention, and we're available for any questions.
Thank you. All right, so I'll go to board member questions for staff. Any board member questions, comments before we open the public hearing? Supervisor? Let's go ahead.
Thank you. I guess I could push that down and keep this on. So I had a couple questions. So my understanding is this is conjunction with the CARB's ruling as well. So we're kind of modifying that, and all that has to go to the EPA, and EPA at some point will determine whether or not this is going to work. And watching lots of news the last month, and when the Supreme Court ruling came down on EPA's ability to even make these type of rules, just wanted to get our legals' thoughts on how is this affecting any of the things we're doing right now, and globally, I guess, specifically. That's loud.
Thank you, Supervisor. The two CARB rules that underlie this regulation were adopted last year by the Air Resources Board, and they are currently before EPA for a determination of whether to grant what they call either a waiver for or authorization under the Clean Air Act, which will allow those rules to go into effect. EPA is targeting getting those actions finalized by the end of this year. Of course, there's no guarantee of that, but it is expected that they will at least shoot for that. As far as recent Supreme Court decisions, I'm not aware of any that would interfere with their ability to grant a waiver or authorization in this situation.
Okay, thank you. And then I'm all for us moving forward with technology and embracing some of this stuff. I am concerned, like I bring up, and every time we do the rule, if we have the capability or practicality to do some of these things. I see multiple projects not getting the energy hooked up for multiple years. So one of the things, if they go ahead and try their best, but the utilities aren't able to keep up with the demand. I hear one report saying we may need to double our energy output for the state of California in 10 years, and we're nowhere near that. I know from firsthand experience, we don't have hydrogen production yet going. That's going to take years and years and years before we get there. Yet our current technology, like Redlands Rail, is relying on hydrogen, which I have to ship in from Arizona or Nevada. So do we have that kind of parallel tracking as we bring these technologies together, that we're not penalizing the people trying to do the right thing, but they just can't get what they need to make it happen.
Maybe Supervisor, I can address that, and then if staff wants to add to what I have to say. We had the chance to tour a couple facilities in the Inland Empire, Mayor McCallum and I, with Senator Padilla and the Assistant Administrator Joe Goffman. And we saw firsthand the challenge of getting technology and yet not having the infrastructure in place. Part of that $500 million CPRG grant proposal focuses on infrastructure. And there is a recognition, and in fact, at Stater Brothers, Leanne Randolph, the chair of California Air Resources Board, noted that when the technology for, like, instance, the zero emission trucks or the drayage trucks that they have, the yard hostler trucks, don't have the infrastructure, there is a mechanism for them to deal with it. The challenge that we have and that the state recognizes is in the hookup at the facilities. And there has been tremendous effort at the state level to make sure that we have the energy capacity to meet the growing needs. But the challenge that's been identified more of late is that last facility hookup, making sure that the facilities either have the substations, the circuits, the transformers, and the time it takes to process that. So there is a lot of action that is going toward minimizing the time necessary to get the permits and to actually construct the infrastructure in place. We do have the mechanisms as well to address that if the infrastructure isn't in place.
So we do have the ability for staff to look at maybe waiving the penalties or something like that if good faith effort's been put in, but the infrastructure is not there.
That's absolutely correct.
Okay. And then, and I would say it's not just having it locally, but because Inland Empire, especially San Bernardino County, is looking hard at this. And it's not, $500 million is quite a big grant, but they're looking at trillions of dollars of infrastructure needed to just meet the current needs and the expectation needs of energy production, hydrogen production over the next 10 to 15 years. We don't have that kind of money. Okay. And obviously, can't make a solar or hydrogen plant overnight. It takes years of environmental work just to get that part done before you get the investment to put it in. And we're looking at it. I'm just saying on this board, as we put these rules in, they're great goals, but make sure we can do it. Now, one last thing, and then I'll shut up. We had last weekend, if you saw the news, we had a container load of lithium batteries turn over an I-15. So it's not just a direct impact of what we're doing. Do we have the resources? Do we have the power? Do we have the hydrogen? Do we have these new stuff? But do we have the infrastructure to deal with the new technology coming? That fire went on for 24 hours. There's 11 to 15,000 motors stranded in 100 plus temperature heat while we dealt with it. And we had all the resources in the world up there from San Bernardino County trying to move an 80,000 ton container full of lithium batteries off the road. We didn't have it. And talk to my fire department and find out what do we need to do to put out a lithium battery. The only way you can really do is have tons and tons of water or submerge a vehicle, submerge a container. And so there's other things we need to be looking at to support the technology that's moving forward in our day-to-day reality lives. And so I'm glad there's some offense built into the rule. I know we're mirroring CARB's rule, and I know that ultimately it's going to be EPA that has to say yes or no on this. But as we look forward to the port rules and other rules we're doing, to have the partnerships with the people we have to implement is critical. Because I'm afraid that, well, we're just not going to talk to you. We're just going to fight in the courts. It's going to take 10 years or 6 years to figure it out. So to bring this technology, bring the infrastructure, bring our partners in on this is so important. I want to commend the staff for trying to do the best they can with this particular rule and working that way. But there's a lot of caution and yellow lights out there that, if we had a perfect world, we could say, do it today. We couldn't do it. So we have to lead up to this over a period of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rodriguez, questions?
Thank you. Appreciate the great work by staff and the outreach to get to this point today. Can we have the slide up that has all of the locations. Back on screen again, please. Okay, so I just want to be clear as to the previous comment that was made regarding infrastructure. And our rule is really looking very specifically at electrification. Is it not?
Well, we're looking at zero emissions. You can electrify it, and you could argue that hydrogen ultimately uses electrification. But I would say that our focus is on zero emissions.
So let's just speak to the topic of electrification then for a moment. Then for these locations where the CARB and our rule would have an implication of looking at electrification, do we have currently today a analysis from Southern California Edison or other utilities that highlights for these specific locations the infrastructure needed to accommodate electrification in compliance with our rule, both from the standpoint of infrastructure needed, infrastructure-related costs, and the time to identify currently any gaps in capacity that would require additional infrastructure? And if so, do we know for these locations what the infrastructure is needed, as you mentioned, whether it's substations, transformers, circuits, et cetera, and what the coinciding timing would be to meet those infrastructure needs? I ask that from the standpoint of an implementation, a realistic implementation timeline that we would anticipate. And if there were gaps in time, then going back to specifically where in our rule that we would have the ability for a location to receive, to forego a penalty if compliance was due to those gaps in infrastructure. So kind of a two-part question. Where are we at today as we look at taking this step of a rule and understanding that the infrastructure needs timelines and costs? Do we have that analysis available for these locations?
Yeah, you have a two-part question. So let me answer the first one. And again, if staff has some additional information they'd like to share, we can do that. So with regards to the infrastructure, the challenge that we have with the state structure is how the investor-owned utilities actually plan. So we can go to SoCal Edison and they have a general idea of the infrastructure needs based on current and existing state law and legislation. But the challenge then begins, and this is an issue that we have been actively engaged in, is trying to deploy early, for instance, vehicle chargers, charging stations. But this investment that's necessary by the utilities, the question becomes who pays for that? And until a contract is entered with the utility itself isn't able to move forward. And so there's a tremendous amount of debate between the utilities, the legislature, and others with regards to how do we pay and deploy this infrastructure in time for the requirements that the state and that local areas are also developing and implementing. So that's something that's going on. One of the things that we as an organization have tried to do is to reach out to SoCal Edison, show them heat maps. I know that you've seen some of the heat maps that we've received from, for instance, Daimler, that shows the location of heavy-duty trucks and where we see the need for investments and early deployment of chargers. So all of that is proceeding. So to your specific point of, are the utilities doing those early investments, constructions? No, they're not. And that we're trying to work with both the CPUC, the CEC, the governor's office, and the utility itself. But one of the other components of what we're looking at, and it's a part of the rule that Dr. Shen just explained, is the infrastructure planning. And on the infrastructure planning side, perhaps Dr. Shen or Ian can detail how the infrastructure planning proceeds and the partners that we have in that.
Great, thank you, Wayne. As Wayne just mentioned, there are infrastructure plans that are required because they haven't been done yet. And one of the things that we really want to make sure when looking at all these rail yards, it's not, I don't think we're assuming that every single rail yard is automatically going to go to electric. There is going to be a component of that, but the railroads are going to have to decide for themselves, are we fueling our locomotives at this rail yard or at that rail yard, or maybe at all of them? Maybe it's hydrogen, maybe it's electric. Tier 4 is also allowed under CARB rules, and that would be allowed here too. So we have this planning requirement. We also are advancing it in that if a need is identified by the railroads, they must submit that request to the utility. They need to get going on this process. In addition to your question about whether there's delays allowed and what in our rule allows that, we crafted an option within the rule specifically on this. And this is the second option in the rule that we say, if the railroads are compliant with CARB's rules, then, and we're getting our proportional share here, then that's okay. It doesn't have to necessarily meet a target that is, they can allow this alternative compliance. And the reason we put that in there is CARB's rules allow flexibility in many respects. One of them is on infrastructure delays. If there is an infrastructure delay, you're allowed to get an extension under CARB's rules. So if they get that extension under CARB's rules, they're compliant under CARB's rules, and we're getting our proportional share here, then that would be allowed.
Thank you. So just going back real quick, I know we have lots of comments, so I'm going to just leave it here for now. I heard you say there is no analysis currently available on essentially assessing capacity gaps for those who would, in these locations, be looking at electrification. We don't know today what gaps exist. We have an analysis of the infrastructure needed.
We don't
cost,
have that
time.
analysis as of yet, but that's one of the requirements to provide those plans so that we can do that, to move that as quickly as possible so that we can get the infrastructure deployed. But that is a consideration.
So if there's a situation where it takes 2 to 3 years to move forward for one of these locations, then you're saying CARB has an extension mechanism that we also would have available in our rule.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other board member questions before we open public hearing? I don't see any other who have been asked to, I don't see any other requests. So with that, I'll open the public hearing. Thank you so much, staff. We have quite a bit of people who've been, who've requested to speak. We're going to start with Jose Avalos, and then I'm going to ask Lucia Aguilar to come up behind him. And these are 2 Spanish speakers, so we will be making sure that translation is available.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Can I ask that maybe we list the next 5? Because we have
Okay.
people in some of the overflow rooms and
Sure.
they'll need time to get over here.
Okay. So the first 5, I don't know if it's possible to put it on screen. After Lucia Aguilar is Ana, there we go. Ana Solorzano, Irene Meneses, and Elba Cordova. And we're going to be limiting the presentations to 1.5 minutes.
Yo hago una pausa y luego. Buenos días. Mi nombre es José Ábalos y vengo de un agónico y desahuciado
Good morning. My name is Jose Avalos, and I come from an agonizing and terminal San Bernardino.
Es monstruoso, es horrible y vergonzoso todo esto. Yo les pregunto a los empresarios, a los abogados, a los miembros de la Junta del Aire, si alguna vez han acompañado a un amigo, a un familiar, a las quimioterapias del cáncer.
It's monstrous, it's horrible, it's shameful, all of this. And I ask business people, I ask lawyers, and I ask the members of the AIR board if you have ever gone to, with one of your friends or a relative, to chemotherapy for cancer. Have you?
¿Alguna vez han estado en una sala de espera de un hospital? No, ¿verdad? No se imaginan el sufrimiento, el dolor de esas personas, de sus familiares. Ustedes, empresarios, no se imaginan el sufrimiento, el dolor de esas personas. Ustedes, empresarios sin escrúpulos y ambiciosos, están poseídos por el dinero.
Have you ever been to a waiting room in a hospital? No, you haven't, right? You can't imagine the suffering, the pain of those people, their relatives. You, as business people with no scruples, are ambitious and you are possessed by money.
Ustedes, abogados, lo único que les interesa es ganar una demanda. No importa a quién le hagan daño, no les importa lo que están sufriendo las personas, solo les importa su ego personal. A ustedes, empresarios, es mentira que vayan a desembolsar un centavo por hacer el cambio, ya que la comunidad es lo que lo paga las consecuencias de todo esto.
You lawyers, the only thing that you care about is to win some kind of lawsuit. It doesn't matter who you are harming. All that you care about is your personal ego, and businessmen, it's a lie that you are going to give 1 penny for achieving change. The community is the one that pays for the consequences of everything.
Ustedes simplemente aumentan los costos de acarreo o de diésel. Siempre lo han hecho así. Hace un año y 4 meses fui testigo de ese día histórico cuando gloriosamente vivimos una esperanza y hoy tienen ustedes esa misión de la regulación de los patios ferroviarios.
You only increase the costs of freight or diesel. You've always done this. A year and 4 months ago, I was.
Muchas gracias, señor Ábalos, por venir hasta acá.
Buenos días. Mi nombre es Lucia Aguilar. Soy un miembro de la comunidad de West San Bernardino. Estoy en apoyo a la electrificación de patios ferroviarios.
Good morning. My name is Lucia Aguilar, and I am a member of the community of West in San Bernardino. I am in support of the electrification of the rail yards.
Ya que traería grandes beneficios de salud para todos en San Bernardino, pero principalmente para mi esposo que sufre problemas respiratorios.
I know that this will bring great benefit, especially for health, for everybody in San Bernardino, but mainly for my husband who suffers from breathing problems.
Y teniendo que dormir con la mascarilla conectada al tanque de oxígeno.
He has to sleep with a mask connected to an oxygen tank.
Les muestro una foto de él para que vean que en verdad es cierto lo que les estoy diciendo.
I'm showing you a picture of him so that you know that it's true what I'm telling you.
Creo que no es justo para nosotros, la clase más desprotegida, que se siga jugando con la salud mientras la industria sigue haciendo tanto daño.
I don't think it's fair for us, the class that is less protected, that you keep playing with health while the industry keeps harming us.
Por ese motivo, pido no más demora para la aprobación de la regla.
That's why I ask not to delay in the approval of this rule.
La salud de mucha comunidad está en sus manos.
The health of many members of the community is in your hands.
Y les pido, por favor, que se pongan la mano en el corazón.
I ask you to put your hand in your heart.
Y recuerden que ustedes podrían ser esposos, esposas, hijos, hermanos.
And remember that you could be a husband, a wife, a sister, a brother.
Y conozcan alguna persona que tiene problemas de salud a causa de la contaminación.
Or know somebody that has health problems because of pollution.
Por esa causa, pido ya aprobarla e implementar la regla de patios ferroviarios por el bien de la salud pública.
That is why I ask you to approve the rule of the rail yards for the well-being and the public health of the community.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias, señora Aguilar.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Ana Solorzano.
Good
Yo
morning.
vengo representando a Área Sur en San Bernardino.
My name is Ana Solorzano. I'm here from the southern area of San Bernardino.
Vengo a apoyar porque la verdad, si me ven con mascarilla, yo también padezco.
I am here to support, and actually you see me wearing a mask because I also have some condition.
Está en su casa, señora Solorzano. Está bien.
Mi casa está contaminada.
My house is polluted.
Okay. No más ruido,
No more noise,
no más basura.
no more garbage.
Queremos aires limpios.
We want clean air.
Eso es lo que quiero hablar.
That's what I want to talk about.
Gracias.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Elba Córdoba y al entrar aquí a esta ciudad me quedé impresionada.
Good morning, my name is Elba Cordova.
Sí.
And my name is Elba Cordova, and when I entered the city, I was impressed.
Se notan que aquí sí siembran vida
You
al
can-
entrar del freeway.
You can tell that in this city, there is life as soon as you leave the freeway.
Yo soy comunidad y la comunidad cuando se hace una petición se escucha una vez.
I am part of the community, and when the community asks for something, you listen to them once.
Se están extendiendo más y más las vías férreas y no se ve tecnología nueva. Solo trenes.
Permítame un segundito. The railways are spreading more and more, and there is no new technology in sight.
Solo tecnología obsoleta y vejestoria.
We only see obsolete technology and old technology,
Y mucha contaminación que trae enfermedades.
and a lot of
En
pollution
mi
that brings
comunidad.
disease in my community.
Sí a la tecnología nueva hay dinero.
Yes, to new
Es el
technology.
país del dinero.
There's money.
Donde
This
se
is
fabrica el dinero.
the country of money. This is where
Sí,
money is
energías
made.
limpias. Sí en trenes eléctricos.
Yes, to clean energy. Yes, to
Hay
electric
que
trains.
trabajar con iones que están en la nueva tecnología. Muchísimas gracias.
Let's keep working for the new technologies. Thank you.
Gracias, señora Córdoba.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Benjamín Luna.
Good morning. My name is Benjamin Luna.
Esta mañana mi esposa y yo nos arrodillamos
This morning, my wife and I
y
knelt down,
suplicamos a Dios
and we begged God
que les pueda bendecir a ustedes, los que
To-
van a tomar esta decisión.
to bless you all who are about to make this
Que les
decision.
dé la sabiduría.
May He give you the wisdom.
En sus manos tienen la vida o la muerte.
In your hands, you have life or death.
Antes de entrar a este lugar, una persona me dijo, quiero tener una entrevista contigo.
Before we came into this place, somebody told me I'd like to have an interview with you.
Me preguntó, ¿cómo te sientes?
They asked me, how do you feel?
¿Y por qué estás aquí?
And why are you here?
¿Cómo te sientes? Me siento impotente.
How do you feel? I feel impotent, powerless.
Es difícil luchar contra compañías que tienen miles y miles de millones de pesos.
It's very hard to fight against companies that have millions and millions of dollars.
¿Por qué estoy aquí?
Why am
Esa
I
fue su
here?
otra pregunta.
That was the second question.
Estoy aquí para pedirles hoy que adopten la regla de fuentes indirectas
I'm here to ask you today to adopt the rule of indirect sources
de los patios ferroviarios,
for rail yards
que requerirá que todos los patios ferroviarios
that will require that all rail yards,
nuevos y existentes
new and in existence,
en esta parte
in this area,
realmente reduzcan sus emisiones letales
should really reduce their lethal emissions
y establezcan un camino hacia un futuro de sin emisiones.
and establish a pathway towards a future without emissions.
Señores de la Junta Directiva, no podemos permitirnos más retrasos.
Members of the board, we can't allow ourselves any more delay.
Tiene que ser hoy.
It has to be today.
¿Por qué estoy aquí? Porque hay miles de personas que no tienen ni voz ni rostro,
Why am I here? Because there are thousands of people that have no voice or
que
face
día a día están muriendo
that are dying day to day
y no saben la causa de sus enfermedades.
and that don't know the cause of their diseases.
Vivo a la orilla del freeway y a la orilla de los rieles.
I live at the edge of the freeway and at the edge of the rail yard.
Mi casa está contaminada.
My house is polluted.
El estudio que le hicieron es que estamos respirando veneno.
The study that was done tells us that we're breathing poison.
Tuve que poner filtros dentro de casa que filtren el aire que vamos a respirar yo y mi familia.
I had to install filters inside the house to filter the air that my family and I breathe.
No estamos aquí para reclamar dinero.
We're not here to ask for money.
Solo queremos que ustedes sean justos.
We just want you to be fair.
La gente confió en ustedes.
People trust you.
No nos decepcionen.
Don't disappoint us.
Gracias por su
Thank you.
atención.
Gracias, señor Luna. ¿Inglés? Sí. ¿Usted va a hablar en inglés? Estaba mi nombre, ya me lo quitaron. Ok. No me necesita.
Good morning, Madam Chair Delgado and board members. My name is Irene Meneses. I am a community health worker with the Long Beach Alliance for Children with Asthma. I've been with the community for 20 years. I've had witnessed a lot of heartaches. Although being a community health member is very rewarding to me, at the same time, it has been very disheartening. When I visit my families that have babies and children recently hospitalized due to asthma, I see stressed parents trying to manage their children's asthma and how it drastically affects the family dynamics. Our goal is to educate and support families. Our goal is to support is to educate and support families. For example, we give them recommendations how to eliminate or get rid of asthma triggers in the home. Our families know that by implementing the recommendations, they can help their children breathe better at home. But it is difficult for these parents to know that by going outside, it would eventually cause them to have asthma symptoms and worse, an asthma attack. I frequently hear, I wish we could move, but their circumstances don't allow it. They realize that
Why don't we just let her, she can finish her thought.
Thank you. They realize that they are not safe living next to these rail yards because it is making their children sick. The fear of your child getting sick should not be a constant worry the moment they leave the house. I am here representing these families that need a voice for their children. Please do not dismiss them. Our children deserve to be healthy and strong. Thank you.
Thank you for your thoughts. And just to clarify, we're going in the order as you see your name, just so we can keep track of all the speakers who've signed up. So thank you so much.
Grand Rising, Madam Chairwoman Delgado and additional board members. My name is Sarita Clark. I am a community health worker with the Long Beach Alliance for Children with Asthma. I am also an educator. I am a community advocate, and I am also a leader for my community. And more importantly, I'm a parent. I have 4 beautiful children with ages that range from 4 years old to 25 years old. Unfortunately, all of my children suffer from asthma and allergies. I have lived in different areas of the city throughout my lifetime: Los Angeles, Gardena, Compton, Long Beach, San Pedro, and I chose to expand my family and raise them in the beautiful city of San Pedro. However, I didn't know at the time how the environment and the air quality in San Pedro would affect my children's health. There are many concerns in my community, but none compare to our crisis with our children's health. They are our future. Right now, parents are struggling to take care of their children. And it's not just because of low income. It's not just because of lack of resources. Our parents are currently supporting their children that are sick. They're disabled. They have medically challenged children because of the lack of clean air that our children must grow up in.
I was gonna let you finish your thought. Yeah.
I can finish?
Yeah, as long as it's, yeah.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Let me see, where was I? Okay, so the sources of diesel pollution, including railways that surround our communities in every direction, are contributing to this public health concern. When our children are outdoors in parks, at school, or in their own yards, in their homes, they are exposed to toxins and pollutions in the air that are causing them to struggle with their breathing. Rail yards have the right, rail yards are a pollution in the air. They're causing pollutions in the air. They causes and alters the air quality that our children are breathing. It is altering every child's life expectancy and their quality of life. Children are dying because of a lack of clean air that they're breathing. And this can all be prevented. Every child deserves to live in a healthy environment, free from diesel pollution. We refuse to sit and say nothing. Again, this can be prevented. Our Black and brown children are among the highest rates of respiratory illnesses out of any other group. We see a pattern of repeat hospital visits, diagnosis of lifelong respiratory diseases. Parents are scared that their children are sick and that their children are losing their lives. And we need help. We need support. We need you to promote change, and we need a healthy living environment.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Thank you for being with us today.
Hi, my name is Tania Gonzalez. I was, yeah, before that, but again, my name is Tania. I'm with the People's Collective for Environmental Justice. I work in the community of San Bernardino, and I'm a resident of Fontana. First off, thank you for the demonstration from the leaf blower. You know, I didn't know that gas leaf blower polluted that much. However, I'm here to talk about a way bigger polluter in our community, which is the rail industry. And I'm here today to tell you that you need to adopt this regulation because our communities deserve to breathe clean air. Many of our communities suffer from asthma, cancer, and other respiratory issues and cardiovascular issues. And we had too many deaths in our community, and enough is enough. So again, adopt the rule, regulate rail, because industry's money is not more important than our lives and than our health. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alberto Leon Vasquez. On behalf of the People's Collective for Environmental Justice, I'm here to exhort you to adopt the rail yard interest source rule. It is unfortunate that my people are suffering the consequences caused by pollution from rail yards. Facing this situation, we cannot stay silent. We cannot allow our communities to be suffering terrible evils like cancer, asthma, and other respiratory diseases. We are here demanding you to pass the regulations. Enough, no more tragedies.
Thank you.
Buenos días. Mi nombre es Catalina Pelayo López.
Good morning. My name is Catalina Pelayo Lopez.
Vengo de Inland Empire.
I come from the Inland Empire.
Estoy el día de hoy para pedir que se aplique la regla de patios ferroviarios.
And today I'm here to ask for the application of the rail yard program.
Claro, ustedes acceder a pasar esta regla, estarán reduciendo las emisiones de contaminación del aire.
Of course, by you passing this ruling, you'll be reducing the contamination of the air,
Ya que esto ayuda a la salud de la comunidad.
that would help the community's health.
Yo me encuentro enferma de la respiración,
I have breathing problems, respiratory problems,
ya sea durante el día o durante la noche. Es muy complicado para mí.
both during daytime and nighttime. This is highly complicated for me.
Mis hijos también están sufriendo de asma y de problemas en la piel y de los bronquios.
My children also have asthma, skin problems, and bronchial problems.
Y estoy aquí también por toda la comunidad y todas las personas, desde bebés y niños, que están sufriendo esos problemas, esos grandes problemas.
And I'm here representing the entire community, all the children, from children to the older children who are suffering for all these problems.
Tenemos la peor calidad de aire de toda la región.
We have the worst air quality in the entire region.
Por eso es importante que ustedes actúen ahora,
Which is why it's so important for all of you to act now,
antes de que sigan subiendo más muertes prematuras
before there are any more premature deaths
y otras enfermedades respiratorias de asma, cardiovasculares, cancerígenas y alergias.
among other respiratory problems or sicknesses, heart problems, cancer-related problems, as well as allergies
Por causa de la contaminación.
due to pollution.
Hoy pido que pasen la regulación de patios ferroviarios.
Today, I'm here to ask for you to pass this regulation on the railroad yards.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias, señora Pelayo.
Hola, buenos días.
Good morning, everyone.
Mi nombre es Carmen González, organizadora con la Colectiva Popular para la Justicia Ambiental y residente de San Bernardino.
My name is Maria Carmen Gonzalez. I'm an organizer with the People's Collective for Environmental Justice, and I'm a resident of San Bernardino.
Hoy me encuentro aquí pidiendo que adopten e implementen la regulación indirecta de patios ferroviarios.
I'm here today to ask for you to adopt and implement the regulation on indirect sources for railroad yards.
Y para poder realmente reducir las emisiones letales, ustedes saben que el ferrocarril y todo lo que conlleva ello es el asesino número 1 y el que más contribuye al exceso de riesgo carcinógeno de la comunidad, de la contaminación del aire.
And in order to reduce this, you know that truly the lethal emissions are the ones that come from the railroads and everything related to it. And those are the number one killers. Those are the ones that contribute the most to the excess risk of someone suffering from cancer by contamination of the air or air pollution. And our people is the one that is the most exposed to said emissions.
Como consecuencia están las enfermedades cardiovasculares, alergias, cáncer y sin faltar el estrés. Y para mí no es grato cargar un inhalador, porque eso es lo que tengo que cargar. Tampoco es grato estar en una sala de emergencia cada 3 meses o antes.
As a consequence of this, illnesses such as cardiovascular ones, allergies, asthma, cancer, not to mention stress, is something that it's very difficult to deal with. It's very hard for me to walk around with an inhaler, and nor is it easy for me to be at a hospital every 3 months or so, nor is it nice to see a child with an inhaler in their hands as opposed to bringing a toy.
No es grato mirar a un niño traer un inhalador en vez de traer un juguete. No es justo. Creo que no es justo. Mi comunidad y yo hemos esperado por mucho tiempo atrás y muchos otros atrás de nosotros por muchas décadas han esperado a que ustedes, Comisión del Aire de California, protejan la salud.
I think that's not fair. It's not fair for the community, and we have been waiting for too long. And for decades, we have been waiting for you, the Air Quality Commission, to protect our health.
Hoy es el gran día. Hoy es el día que por mucho tiempo hemos esperado y que por otros que no alcanzaron a estar aquí porque ya fallecieron. Hoy es el gran día. Ustedes pasarán a la historia. Ustedes tienen el poder de autoridad, ustedes tienen el poder moral para exigir a estos contaminadores de la región.
Gracias. Sí, ya vamos a tener que cortarlo si pasan de tiempo.
Pido terminar solamente.
Rápido, pues sí. Pero no que no es tan importante lo que dice.
So today is a big day. Today, for a very long time, we have been waiting, and for not just for us, for the ones that were not able to come here because they have died. Today is a big day, and today you will make history. You have the power, you have the authority, the moral authority to make sure that these contaminants
Y para que reduzcan sus emisiones y la regla de fuente indirecta son el único camino hacia la reducción concreta de emisiones.
be reduced alongside the emissions, and this ruling here that for indirect sources is the only way to get the concrete reduction that is needed for this emission reduction.
Ya, gracias. Ya tenemos que seguir la próxima. Muchas gracias, señora González.
Test. Okay, here we go. Good morning. My name is Jem Montez. I'm a resident of the Inland Empire, and I work with the People's Collective for Environmental Justice. I'm here to ask you not to drop the ball today. Your own representative said that we have been working on this for a very, very long time. Please adopt the railroad regulations presented today. Your mission statement says that you're supposed to be clean in the air and protect the health of all residents in the South Coast Air Quality District through practical and innovative strategies. Thinking about that, I was just astounded to hear some of the comments that came afterward. I can only ask you to please shift your thinking to align with the mission statement of your organization. The perspective from the outside looks as though you're protecting the industry and their profits. The questions that should have been addressed were, what are the penalties that the community is paying? I don't care about the penalties for the railroad. What do we pay? We're paying with our life. How much do these families lose each year? 300 premature deaths. Some people might say that's not a lot. For one premature death, we should do this. That's why we should do this. And it's not our responsibility to design or advocate for the industry. Your staff has clearly stated that their emissions have not been reduced.
Thank you so much for your comments. ¿Necesita alguien que?
No.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair Delgado, and members. My name is Maria Garcia, and I'm a community health worker for Long Beach Alliance for Children with Asthma, and in Long Beach resident also. I am proud of the help I provide the families through the 21 years as a community health worker. And I work with families with children with asthma and allergies. They always commitment to the children have struggles breathing. Caregivers have their kids getting asthma attacks and have many hospitalizations because they're not able to breathe. I have seen not having clean air, those kids in our program having to depend into different medications and the nebulizer machines. Kids deserve breathe air, and that can be possible if you're not reducing pollution in the communities nearby the rail yards. Remember, air doesn't have walls. It can go all the way into your house too. I am here to representing the families and I work for. We are asking you to do something about it. Believe me, you will be proud to the benefit for the new generations, breathing the fresh air and living healthy and normal lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Hello, my name is Shane Isaias with the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice. And firstly, I'd like everyone in the audience to raise your signs to show the board who is here, my beautiful brothers and sisters advocating for a healthier community. You know, I'm a father and I have to question whether or not to take my kids to the park because of air quality. And those are decisions made by people sitting where you're sitting. Today we make history. Today we vote for a rail yard ISR. We know every inaction is having us pay the cost for this infrastructure, paying the cost with our health. So in response to Board Member Hagman, we see red lights. We don't see yellow. We see our families and loved ones dying, and we see you questioning whether or not it's feasible. We need to take action today. And we need to think of the underserved Black and Brown communities who bear the brunt of this inaction. Today, we take a step to curing our climate crisis and to finally represent the people who are suffering the most, and that's our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Buenos días, mi nombre es María Rubio.
Good morning. My name is Maria Rubio.
Soy residente de San Bernardino y yo estoy aquí para que pedirles que apoyen la regulación de ferrocarril como muchos de nuestros
I am a resident of San
comunidades.
Bernardino, and I'm here to ask you to approve the rule on the railroad.
Como mucho de nuestra comunidad tengo asma y me ha dado neumonía 2 veces.
Like many in our
Bronquitis.
community, I suffer of asthma, and I have gotten pneumonia a couple times.
Bronquitis y por eso creo que es importante regular el ferrocarril para que
As well as
nuestra salud
bronchitis, which is why I think it's important for
aire-
you to regulate the railroad
aire
system,
limpio
for us
para
to have
nuestras
clean air,
comunidades, para nuestros hijos y nuestras generaciones venideras.
for our future, for our children, for future generations.
Y pues yo pido que se pongan la mano en el corazón porque yo pienso que ustedes tienen hijos también,
I ask you to
nietos,
put your hands to your hearts.
nietos, sus generaciones. Y si sigue la cosa así, ¿dónde vamos a parar todos juntos?
I'm sure you have children, grandchildren, and if things continue the way they are, imagine where we're going to end up.
Y también yo estoy muy afectada porque todo lo que he sufrido,
I'm highly affected because of everything I have suffered.
pues mis pulmones no están bien.
My
Tengo-
lungs are not fine.
Tengo que dormir con máscara.
I have to sleep with a mask on.
Me da mucha vergüenza con mi esposo estar. ¿Ustedes creen que es algo bonito dormir con su pareja
Imagine-
con una cosa aquí en la cara que no es algo romántico? Yo ya no tengo vida.
Sleeping like that with a mask on, with your partner
Yes.
next to you, I have no life.
Yo ya no me siento romántica. Es algo muy horrible.
That's not romantic at all. I feel horrible about it.
Y yo les pido por favor que se pongan la mano en el corazón y nos ayuden. Ustedes que tienen el poder y pueden hacerlo, por favor, se los pido.
I ask you to please put your hand in your heart. And those of you, you are the ones who have power to do something about this. So I ask you to please do so.
Muchas gracias y espero que nos ayuden, por favor.
Thank you very much, and please help us.
Gracias, señora Rubio.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Sara Trujillo. Vengo del condado de San
Hi.
Bernardino.
Good morning, I'm Ana Trujillo. I come from San Bernardino County.
La ciudad de San Bernardino lamentablemente ha sido invadida por muchas warehouses, bodegas.
The city of San Bernardino has been invaded by many warehouses.
Nosotros estamos sufriendo no solo por el aeropuerto, bodegas,
We're suffering not just
trenes,
because of the airport, the warehouses, trains,
camiones, cementeras,
trucks, cement trucks
que están instaladas muy cerca de nuestras casas, de nuestras escuelas, donde nuestros hijos pasan la mayor tiempo de su vida.
that have placed themselves near to our communities, our houses, where our children are, where they spend most of the time.
Sabemos que la ferroviaria tiene millones de dólares, así que no puede ser una excusa de que no existe.
We know that the train companies have millions of dollars, so we know that without a doubt,
La tecnología existe, entonces sabemos que puede llegar a cumplirse esta regla.
they can use the technology, but technology is already existing, so they can fulfill this rule that you're looking into passing.
Es una necesidad que pase porque necesitamos tener un futuro mejor para nuestros hijos.
This rule needs to pass in order for our children to have a better future.
Necesitamos tener aire limpio, es un derecho que tenemos.
We need to have clean air. It's our right.
Esta mañana estamos aquí para pedirles que aprueben la ISR,
And this morning, we're here to get this rule
la
adopted.
regla. La regla debe ser aprobada porque en nuestro presente necesitamos respirar aire limpio.
It needs to be approved because now, today, in the present, we need to breathe clean air
Que mis hijos puedan tener un futuro mejor.
for my children to have a better future.
Que sus compañeros no sufran de asma. Mis hijos no sufren de asma, pero existe cáncer en nuestra comunidad. Muchas madres muriendo, dejando niños huérfanos.
For our children to breathe better air. My kids do not suffer of asthma or respiratory diseases, but kids in the community do. And there are many others in the community that are also suffering from cancer, for example.
Padres que van a trabajar a las bodegas y que tienen que respirar ese aire porque mientras más camiones entren a las ferroviarias, más camiones hay en nuestra comunidad, más camiones contaminan.
Parents that work in the warehouses need to face all this contamination, and the more trucks that go there, the more contamination that is there present.
Por favor, aprueben la ley. Necesitamos que los ferrocarriles sean cero emisiones.
Please
Gracias.
approve this ruling. We need for the trucks to be zero emissions.
Gracias, señora Trujillo.
Good morning, board. Good morning, Madam Chair Delgado and board members. My name is Jessica Figueroa, Project Coordinator at Long Beach Alliance for Children with Asthma, and a proud resident of the city of San Pedro in the Harbor area. I'm here today as the voice for my family, friends, neighbors, for the many families living in Long Beach, San Pedro, and Wilmington, most of whom were participants in our asthma home visitation program, and who are affected daily by breathing polluted air and who have difficulty catching their breath while running in PE or simply playing outside. As you are aware, families living near a polluted source are at high risk of developing asthma, allergies, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and even death. Although most in the community are aware of these risks, there are many families whose financial income doesn't allow them to move to a city where the quality is slightly better. As an asthmatic and parent of children with asthma and allergies, I also face these risks daily. Like most parents with young children, our days began with early drop-offs before heading to work. Our everyday lives are impacted by making decisions to expose ourselves to get to our destination. If there is a way to reduce emissions, then now is the time to do it. I often think about the community who live near the rail yards and the mobile sources it attracts, and knowing the health risks associated. Today, please consider making a positive change to reduce emissions because our children's lungs are at stake. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you so much.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Alberto Hernández.
Good morning, my name is Alberto Hernández.
Vengo de San Bernardino.
I come from San Bernardino,
Vengo a pedirles que se pongan su mano en el corazón
and
y
I'm here to ask
traten
you
de regular esta ley.
to put your hand in your heart and try to
Pues hay
regulate
mucha
this law.
contaminación y a causa de eso
There's a lot of pollution, and because of that,
hay muchas enfermedades.
there
Miren,
are a lot of diseases. Look
yo
at this,
mismo, miren la medicina que tomo
Look
por
at
tanta contaminación.
all the medication I must
Y
take
como
because of all
ciudadano,
the pollution.
le agradezco al Señor por lo de la sopladora.
And as a
Yo
citizen,
mismo
I thank you
ya
about
tengo mi
the
sopladora y mi guiriro
leaf
para
blower.
ayudar.
I myself have already that kind of
So
blower
les
to
pido
help.
por favor que pasen esto.
So I ask you please to pass this.
En San Bernardino hay muchos trailers y muchos trenes,
In
y
San
los trailers
Bernardino,
pasan enfrente de las
we have a lot
escuelas.
of trailers and trucks, and the trailers drive right by the schools.
So, por favor, ustedes tienen el poder.
So please, you have the
Háganse
power.
notar. Confiamos en que ustedes puedan hacerlo.
We trust that you will do this.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Good morning, Madam Chair Delgado and board members. My name is Marlon DeWoodgie, and I work with the Long Beach Alliance for Children with Asthma. And we work and serve in communities that have been continuously exposed to air pollution levels that far exceed state and federal standards. That lived experience is reflected in the countless stories of children unable to breathe, just trying to be a kid. It is also reflected in the high rates of asthma-related hospitalizations. And it is reflected in each and every one of these community members here today and the thousands more they each represent that weren't able to come out all this way, but whose struggle we hear every single day. Freight rail yards are a significant source of air pollution, especially diesel emissions in our air. Many residents already face environmental and economic challenges, and this added health burden is unacceptable. I'm sure you are all aware of the health implications, including increased risk of respiratory illnesses, increased risk of heart disease and asthma due to prolonged exposure to the pollution. But now it is the time to show that we also care. My role in the community is to share information about these pollution sources and its health implications, and your job is to protect the communities from them. And I hope you do this because this is more than just what happens in this room. This is our neighbors, these are our families, and
Thank you so much for your comments.
Buenos días, mi nombre es María Luisa Ramírez y vengo en representación de mi comunidad de San Bernardino.
Good morning. My name is Maria Luisa Ramirez, and I'm here in representation of my community in San Bernardino.
Soy madre de 4 hijos, uno de ellos, el menor de mis hijos, cuando era muy pequeño me lo diagnosticaron con autismo.
I am a mother of 4 children. One of them, the youngest one, when he was very little, was diagnosed with autism.
Él es muy hiperactivo, es parte de su misma condición y para ayudarlo a controlarse un poco, siempre lo tenemos que mantener ocupado en actividades físicas.
He's very hyperactive, and that's part of that same condition. And in order to help him control himself a little, we always keep him busy with physical activity.
Por ejemplo, natación, taekwondo, soccer.
Such as swimming, taekwondo, and soccer.
El soccer es el deporte que más le gusta a él y todo iba muy bien en su actividad física hasta que por motivos económicos tuvimos que mudarnos
Dígame dónde.
a vivir a las motivos económicos tuvimos que mudarnos a vivir a la ciudad de San Bernardino.
Soccer is the sport that he likes the most, and everything was going well with his physical activity until, because of economic reasons, we had to move to the city of San Bernardino.
Anteriormente vivíamos en la ciudad de Santana, pero como el costo de la vivienda aumentó mucho, tuvimos que movernos a esta ciudad, San Bernardino.
In the past, we used to live in the city of Santana, but given the high cost of living, we had to move to San Bernardino.
A los 2 años de vivir en San Bernardino, un día a mi hijo le dio un ataque de asma cuando él estaba en sus deportes.
2 years after living in San Bernardino, one day my son had an asthma attack when he was practicing sports.
Pues resulta que el doctor lo diagnosticó con asma.
Well, it so happens that the doctor diagnosed him with asthma.
Dijo que el problema es por tanta contaminación que hay en esta ciudad.
He said that the problem was the high pollution levels in this city.
Por tantos carros de carga pesada, trailers y por la contaminación de trenes.
Because of all the freight trailers, the heavy-duty freight cars, and the trains.
Yo como madre estoy muy preocupada por la salud de mis hijos.
As a mother, I am very worried about the health of my children.
Pero más por la de mi hijo Jesse, que le gusta tanto el deporte.
Especially because of especially for the health of my son Jesse, who likes sports so much.
Y ahora que tiene que tener una actividad moderada por el asma.
And now that he has to
Muchas gracias. Ya tenemos que cortar, señora Gracia. Muchas gracias. Okay, we're going to be closing the roll to sign up to speak online and in person. So if you have not yet raised your hand online, we will be closing the roll. Christian.
Okay, testing. All right. Good morning, Chair Delgado, AQMD board and staff. My name is Cristian Tapia Delgado. I'm a climate campaigner with Pacific Environment and a member with East Yard and a downtown Long Beach resident. I attended Cabrillo High School on the west side where the ICTF rail yard runs right by our field where students exercise daily. Cabrillo is also where I learned about environmental racism after having joined East Yard, and since learning about how my community was boxed in by pollution, toxic refineries, ports, freeways, rail yards, I've never considered my home safe. This is the reality for many of us. Many of us don't live next to only one source of pollution, but we feel the combined effects of all of them firsthand. They're the reason why many friends and family members in my community and many of the people in this room today suffer from asthma and other health problems. The rail yard ISR provides us with an opportunity to remedy the decades of environmental injustices that Black and Brown working class communities like mine have been burdened with for years. Locally, our communities need regulations like the rail yard ISR, which will protect them from deadly fossil fuel emissions and create green, family-sustaining jobs through the implementation of zero-emission technologies. Globally, we're hitting planetary boundaries that UN climate scientists have warned us about, and we're already experiencing record high temperatures this summer, and we can only expect it to get worse. For far too long, our communities have been put aside for profits, and we need the Air District to protect our most vulnerable communities by adopting the rail yard ISR and later.
Thank you so much, Christian. Is Andy Guerra? No.
Look, yeah, there you go.
My name is Catherine Lucera. I have lived in San Bernardino for approximately 6 years. 2 years after getting here, I was diagnosed with allergies, and when I come in contact with too much CO2 or too much things in the air, I grow pimples and bumps on my skin. I don't think it's fair. You guys just sit there and don't have to go through health problems, and I have to worry every time I go outside about my skin. There are so many places in that the air is contaminated, but we are more contaminated than a lot of places. Imagine how many people have got sick and passed away. You people are just sitting there doing nothing about this regulation. This is for the kids that have lost their lives when their health was in your hands. Regulate this rule not only to save adults, but also the new generation. That is why I asked for the regulations of railways. Think about all the lives you could be saving today. Today's a historical day where you will go down in history as a lifesaver or as a selfish person. My health is in your hands. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Hi, I'm asking if I could have 3 minutes because I'm here with my son Lazarus, and I don't want him to do his public comment by himself. It's nerve-wracking. So I'm asking for, yeah. Okay, and this is my daughter Ezra, and she'll be doing public comment as well. So good morning, everyone. I'm gonna take a drink of my water because I'm allowed to bring it now. Cheers, everyone. Okay, so I'm with East Yard. I'm the East Side Youth Organizer. I'm also a mama. So shout out to the mamas. I'm here along with my son Lazarus and my daughter Ezra, and along with our youth members who are also in line showing support with each other. We want this ISR. And when do we want it, y'all? Wait, what? When do we want it? That's right. We want it now, and we're energized and we're looking forward. I want to take a moment, not a moment of silence, but I want to take a moment of cheers for the people that have passed that don't get to see this moment, so cheer for them. Ricardo Gutierrez, Daria Núñez está presente. Okay. I want to give a shout out to the elders that are here in the room, Miss Paulette, Jesse, let's see, Juana Gutierrez, who's not here, but they are here with us. We have been fighting for so long. I want to give a shout out to the adults that have been here. We want to give a shout out to the youth that are here and that will keep fighting for our clean air. We want this ISR. We don't want dirty hydrogen. We want clean, renewable energy, electric energy for these rails. You need to hold them accountable. Let's see. And I also want to urge some of these electeds to call for a resolution for a ceasefire on the genocide in Gaza now. Go ahead and say your ISR. Laz, do you want this ISR to pass? Yeah. You want clean air? Yeah. Do you want it? When do you want it? Now. That's right. Lazarus also has asthma and he takes an inhaler when he's not feeling good. Do you like taking an inhaler when you don't feel good? No. That's right. Okay, so we want this ISR. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Ezra. I'm from Boyle Heights. I'm with East Yard Communities for Environmental Justice, and we are demanding you pass the rail yard ISR today.
Thank you.
I'm actually really embarrassed for all of y'all debating this because this should be a hell yeah.
That's right.
Thank you so much for your comments. So last chance for Andy Guerra. Andy Guerra, we're gonna remove Andy Guerra. Last call. Okay, that was Tiff. Okay, so Naomi? Okay.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Noemi Bueno y vivo en la ciudad de San Bernardino.
Good morning. My name is Noemi Bueno, and I live in the city of San Bernardino.
Tengo una hija de 17 años que desde que tenía 1 año de edad tiene asma y alergias muy severas.
I have a daughter who's 17 years old, and since she was 1 year old, she has been suffering from asthma and severe allergies and asthma.
Vive constantemente con medicamentos, nebulizadores e inhaladores.
She has to constantly have medication, nebulizers, and inhalers.
Yo también padezco mucho de alergias.
I also suffer from many allergies.
Todo es debido a la contaminación de los trenes y las vías ferroviarias.
And all of this is due to the pollution from the trains and the rail yards and the railways.
Pues vivimos muy cerca de ellas y esto nos afecta demasiado.
We live very close to these, and this affects us very deeply.
Por favor, les pido regularicen los patios ferroviarios y pasen la regla ISR.
Please, I'm asking you to regulate the rail yards and to pass the rule ISR.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, señora Buena.
Good morning, Madam Chair and board members. My name is Silvia Betancourt. I work with the Long Beach Alliance for Children with Asthma. We were established 25 years ago after a child died of an asthma attack on one of our school campuses in Long Beach. This could have been prevented. We know and have established that health studies show that children who grow up near diesel sources of pollution have higher rates of asthma and also reduced lung function, according to the USC Children's Health Study. This doesn't need to be a reminder. However, I want to lift it up today for us because health is really the priority here. When we're talking about reducing emissions, it is about children's health. So while our program works with children who have uncontrolled asthma, that means these children have been missing school, have been in the hospital, have been in the ER, and their parents missing work. We know that this can be prevented. While our work is about prevention, we know that when those children go home, when their families are at home, that they're returning to neighborhoods that are polluted with diesel. This just ends up being a cycle. We cannot continue to give medication, to be hospitalizing these children. We need answers. We need solutions that are real. For decades, we've been working on trying to find these solutions around rail. And today is the day. We ask that you make a decision that recognizes the children that are in these neighborhoods. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Leslie Kalel. I'm here on behalf of the East Yard affiliation. I'm here to call on you today to adopt the rail yard indirect source rule. The problem is that my community is constantly being targeted by issues like these. Why is it that every single time you want to implement something, it is something that harms us? Whether that is a new freeway or these new train stations, we need something to be implemented that actually benefits us. We are constantly getting, you guys are constantly getting rid of the green spaces that are actually combating these like industries that sort of just like destroy our community. They harm our health, they harm our plants, they harm like just a lot of different things. So I feel like it isn't like something that you should like be debating on. Implementing this plan will like encourage us and see that you guys are actually wanting to help us. We are the people part of the US. We pay a lot of the money. So why is it that you guys are claiming to not have the money? So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
Oh, I'm short. Okay. My name is Maya. I'm a youth member with East Yard, and we want the indirect source rule to be implemented because it will help keep the industry liable for the harm they cause. The harm they cause due to the pollution, but refuse to take accountability for is cancer, disabilities, asthma, diseases, to name a few. This is due to the diesel particulate matter and the natural gases released when trains are running. Not only when the trains are running, but early in the mornings when the trains are revving their engines, which they should be doing in like a protected area, but aren't and claim to be when it only has 3 walls like protecting it. Anyway, as well as the trucks that go through our communities because it's delivering whatever it has to deliver to other places. So we deserve clean air and a healthy life. So that's why I'm asking to implement the indirect source rule. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Siri. I'm a junior at Roosevelt High School. I'm here on behalf of East Yard to urge you to adopt the rail yard indirect source rule today to reduce lethal emissions and set a path towards a zero emission future. With the worst air quality emission in the nation, SoCal port and rail yards are severely endangering nearby communities who face significant ongoing pollution, leading to high cancer rates, asthma, disabilities, etc. Growing up alongside the rail yards, I never knew how uncommon it was. I had normalized the clash of trains late at night and the occasional bad smell as I played outside. Our communities need the rail yard indirect source. This would allow us to rest assured knowing our air quality is safe for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, and go Rough Riders.
Buenos dias, good morning. My name is Emily Quest. I live in the west side of Long Beach. And we're calling on the AQMD to adopt the rail yard ISR rule today to reduce pollution from rail yards. Electrify this harmful, polluting industry and set the region on a path to zero emissions. My family has been so hurt by this. We have mental illness. We have breathing problems. We have bloody noses. I can't imagine how you're going to feel tonight when you vote against us. I'm wondering, premonition, how many of you with my ESP, how many of you can I see that will say no to us this morning? How many of you will go to bed tonight and know that you killed our children? Human beings are being extinct. If you watch PBS or any show on PBS, you'll find out about climate change. This is real. I need to go to the hospital. I'm having systemic blood problems. My dentist told me not even to come here today. I can barely stand.
Thank you so much, Ms. Quest.
Good morning. My name is Valeria Garcia, and I am part of Youth in Action in East Yard. I am standing here today to ask you to adopt the rail yard indirect source rule, as it will make a huge difference in my community and other communities as well.
I live nearby 6 intermodal rail facilities that employ a significant amount of diesel-fueled equipment such as line hauls, locomotives, and switch engines, and many more. Members in my community and I are often exposed to diesel exhaust emissions, and where studies have actually estimated that 6% of all lung cancer deaths in the US are due to diesel exhaust exposure, and is way much higher if the study was narrowed down to only communities nearby railroads. Health organizations have even classified diesel exhaust emissions as, and I quote, carcinogenic to humans. Given this, I urge you to consider our health and mandate rail yards to reduce their pollution emissions, furthermore prevent them from continuing to damage our environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Joanna and I am 16 years old. I am from the Boyle Heights community with the East Yard organization. Our community is polluted every day due to the use of railroads all over our community. This law benefits families and children in our community due to the less pollution they will breathe every day. Children should not have to worry about breathing in clean air. Our air should be clean. I have enough problems with my asthma and have to breathe in poisons every day, slowly killing me. Also, elderly people who already have respiratory issues and breathing in this air kills. Pass the ISR now. I want to stop having to live life knowing my air is poisoning me every day. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Hello, everyone. My name is Moicha Estrada. I'm also part of the East Yard youth community, and I'm part of the Boyle Heights community. And I'm here today to call you to adopt the rail yard indirect source rule, which will require every new and existing rail yard in the South Coast to actually reduce their lethal emissions. I've grown up in these communities of low income, and I've normalized all these like toxic emissions. Growing up, I never thought that they were unsafe, but now being part of these like communities of Youth in Action, ECR, it really showed me how our communities don't deserve this. Our kids, our friends, our family members, we don't. We really deserve clean air and just be able to enjoy our childhood upbringings with just good quality fresh air. And I really do hope that you guys are able to like adopt this rule and pass it on, because I feel like we just deserve this, don't we? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lali Islas. I am 19 years old and have been a member at East Yard for 4 years. I am here asking you to adopt the rail yard indirect source rule today. I live in Boyle Heights. I live in between freeways and rail yards. When we aren't being poisoned by lead contamination from Exide, we are being attacked by air pollution from the rail yards. One of our greatest concerns is the effects that these strong emissions have on our health. My community shouldn't have to worry on whether they are breathing clean air. We urge you to pass the rail yard indirect source rule today. Thank you.
Thank you, Citlali.
Good morning, board and chair. My name is Daisy Flores. I am also a part of Youth in Action and East Yard community. And I am here to call on you today to adopt the rail yard indirect source rule, which requires very new and existing rail yard in the South Coast to actually reduce their lethal emission and set path towards a zero emissions future. I live in Boyle Heights, and where I live, I am near freeways, a lot of them. Even though I am not gravely affected, nor is my family, they might be someday. I've heard stories from so many people who have been gravely affected that their families would die. And I just come to myself thinking, when am I going to be next? Our community needs you to pass the rail yard indirect source rule today and add to the rule a requirement of fence line monitoring all rail yards. It's important to act today. I'm unsure on how much blood is in your hands right now, but I don't think you want any more blood on your hands after this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before Taylor comes up, I just want to ask if we could keep comments to a minute. We still have 84 speakers and I know you all want to hear the vote. So before we start losing board members, I just respectfully ask if you could keep your comments to a minute.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Taylor. I'm with East Yard Communities for Environmental Justice. At first, I want to thank the staff. There's a lot of things that transpired up until this point that I don't agree with, but I do support all of the work that they put in. And it's very disappointing that some of the comments out of the board are reflective of not being engaged directly with the staff, reading their reports, reading their presentations, and also that some of you will leave. We didn't ask you to be in the positions that you're in. You chose to be up there, and you're dealing with human lives. We're here out of love. We love ourselves, we love our communities, and believe it or not, we love y'all too, because we recognize that we all live on this planet. And so I really hope that you will love yourselves as much as you love industry and want to support them, because that's what we're here for. I see that there's a whole lot of extra security. We're not here to fight. We're not here to fight you. We're here to fight for the lives of ourselves, our communities, and our people. So pass this rule. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor.
All right, Chair.
Supervisor Perez? 1 minute,
Just very quickly, I'd like to just make a statement and see how you all feel about this. I appreciate the last speaker, especially the words stemming from love. I think that's very powerful. And obviously, at the end of the day, that should be the mission as to why we're here. You and the audience, as well as ourselves here at the dais. If you folks are ready, and if my colleagues are ready, I'm prepared to make a motion to support the recommendation by staff, if that's allowed, so that we don't lose members and so that you can see the vote as well. If not, that's okay too, but I just thought that I'd make that motion now in hopes that we could move this forward.
Let me turn to Wayne.
I second the motion.
Let me turn to legal counsel to give us advice on that.
Yes, thank you, Supervisor. The board can put a limit on the length of time that public testimony will be taken. So I don't know if it's critical that happen right now or if there's more time available. But it is my recommendation that we provide as much time as possible for public comments and allow them to testify if they wish to do so. We could shorten the time period again as another suggestion, but you can put a limit on the amount of time available.
Yeah, so just very quickly for clarification, I'm not asking that we put a limit or that we stop folks from speaking. I think that we make the vote, and hopefully, if it passes or not, people will go ahead and still have the opportunity to speak or not.
But my concern for legal is, before we can make a vote, we're supposed to hear public comment, and based on the public comment we've heard, so that's an issue.
Right, well, that's why I was suggesting that we put a limit on the testimony that we will hear and then shorten the time limit for individual speakers if necessary.
Okay. I think the point is well taken. We are excited to have a discussion and vote on this. I think hopefully it's something that everybody will be pleased with. So I'm going to ask that we have 2 final speakers. If you would like to choose representatives, 2 final speakers, and then we're going to close the public hearing. We love you
Madam
all,
Chair.
but yes.
Madam Chair, may I make a suggestion? If we could have people shorten, I appreciate people have prepared statements. I get that. I think the goal is to have a vote on the ISR. That should be the North Star. And so if we could have people come to the mic and simply not read your full statement, but say either I support staff recommendation or I don't. So literally everyone could have a chance to speak, but it could be about 10 seconds per person. Again, the goal is the vote. What you deserve is a vote on the policy. That should be the North Star and the goal. We appreciate you all have come, and if everyone could come up and say, we support it or we don't, that's the message ultimately that needs to be communicated. That would be my recommendation, Madam Chair.
I'm going to turn back to council.
Madam Chair, before council weighs in, I just wanted to say that was going to be my exact recommendation. People could just say they support or oppose. This way, everybody has the opportunity to comment. We want to make sure that those that have signed up have that opportunity. Keep it as short as possible so that you can vote, as Supervisor Mitchell suggested.
Supervisor, you brought it up.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, I just know that from experience as a supervisor for the county of Riverside, we've done this before as well. When we know where we are, for the most part, per se, we go ahead and choose to move forward and at the same time, allow folks to speak after the vote. But it's definitely up to council. But I'm prepared to vote because I know where I'm going to be.
So, Madam Chair, I'm more comfortable with Supervisor Mitchell's proposal. If we then can instruct the staff that's handling the microphone to turn it off after that limited period, then we can ensure that everyone will get a chance to speak.
And I just want to announce, if we do have members who have to leave beginning around 11:30, no, that's not intentional in any way. I think there was a kind of effort to respect everybody's time and try to vote sooner.
Madam Chair, just to respect the public comment, that is obviously our duty, and to add to our Supervisor Mitchell's idea, I would also ask that if anyone wants to volunteer on their end to say, I'm going to allow my colleagues to speak and I'm going to withdraw so that we can get to this vote, let it be on the public for them to possibly withdraw their name, and then we can get to this vote as soon as possible, just to also respect public comment and respect that everyone has a voice in this space. Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we will go back to Joaquin.
Well, it sounds like you guys made up your mind and are gonna vote yes. So if you're gaslighting us and you're just gonna vote no, we're gonna get mad.
That's fair, that's fair.
But thank you, and I support this rule for our communities and for the future generations. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Joaquin.
Good day, everyone. My name is Cecilia Sua, and it's just like everyone here is fighting for the same stuff. I'm here to support the ISR. Please, help save our lives. You guys have heard how so many people are suffering, dying. If y'all don't want any more blood, please save our lives. And penalize the polluters. Thank you.
Thermal, good to see you in person.
Good morning. My name is Farrell Golden. I'm here to support the rule, and it's out of love for my community. And I want to reinforce everything all the previous people said when they came to this mic. This is about love and to stop the industry from using our blood to subsidize their goods movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Farrell.
Soy Olga Urbina.
Hi, I'm Olga Rubina.
Soy una embajadora del CCAEJ.
I'm a CCAEJ ambassador.
Soy ama de casa.
I'm a housewife.
Vivo en San Bernardino hace 24 años.
I live in San Bernardino County for 24 years.
Y muy cerca de las vías del tren.
I'm very close to the train tracks.
Me preocupa toda la contaminación que tenemos.
I'm highly concerned about the high contamination and pollution in the area.
Por favor, apoyen a la 2306.
Please support ISR 2306.
Con todo respecto, comunidad, vamos a pedir que si, nomás nos puede decir que si quieren que apoyemos esto, que lo hagamos un poco con más rápido, porque todavía tenemos 70 personas que quieren hablar. So, por favor, si nomás nos puede decir si lo apoyamos para que todos puedan hablar.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Luis Carretero Cuevas. I'm here with the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice. I'm from San Bernardino, and I support the ISR. I hope you guys adopt it. And with me, I have letters from community who couldn't make it today that also support the passing of the ISR. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Michael Carretero, and I'm from CCAEJ, and I support PR 2306.
Thank you.
I am Daniel Kloster. I'm a professor of environmental studies from the University of Redlands. This is an environmental justice issue. The communities that border the rail yards are some of the most heavily polluted, disproportionately poor, and you have heard the pain and the desperation. Please adopt this rule. Delay would be unjust.
Thank you so much. A last call for Minerva Urbina. Last call for Minerva. Okay, sorry, Nicholas.
Thank you. My name is Nicholas Avalos. I am 17 years old. I am from San Bernardino, and I support PR 2306.
Thank you.
Mi nombre es Alma Lovera y estoy preocupada por lo que es la calidad del aire, por el cual doy mi apoyo para que puedan realizar los cambios, ya que soy sobreviviente de cáncer y tengo alergias visibles en la piel. Espero para las generaciones. Y espero que para las generaciones futuras, aunque yo no lo vea, puedan tener una mejor calidad de vida que la mía.
Muchas gracias.
Hola, mi nombre es Ingrid Mayen y estoy apoyando la ley de ¿qué es la IRC. Estoy para eso.
Thank you so much. Gracias.
Hi, my name is Fernanda Durazo. I'm from Bloomington, and please approve this project thank you.
Thank you, Fernanda.
Hi, my name is Araceli Reyes, and I'm from CCAE Justice. And yes, I support it. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so
I hope
much.
you guys take the right decision.
Thank you. Angel Lover, is Angel here now?
Hola, mi nombre es María Elena Hernández, soy residente de Bloomington y yo voy a hablar rápido, pero quiero que esto les llegue al corazón. Tuve la oportunidad de estar en un daycare donde hay niños de diferentes razas y últimamente los niños solo se están enfermando de gripe, de tos, con flemas y tuve que dejar ese trabajo porque cuidaba 2 días en el daycare y 3 días con mis nietos y por amor a mis nietos tuve que dejar a los niños, aunque con mucho dolor los dejé. Pero a veces a mediodía tenía que hablarle a los padres, no querían salirse del trabajo porque los iban a correr. Entonces necesito que por favor aprueben, ya no lo piensen más. Ahorita mismo aprueben esa ley, por favor.
We should approve this law. I used to work at a daycare. I used to work and help children. My grandchildren were there, and there was a constant problem.
Gracias.
That was Gabriela, right? Was that Gabriela? Sorry. I'm trying to make sure I'm on the right list. So my name is Jennifer Cardenas. I support this, but I also want to remind you to support the Port ISR. So let's move on and pass this and start focusing because the community matters.
We're getting translation in Spanish out in the auditorium.
kinda cool.
Let's just give her, I'm sorry, Jennifer, we'll give you a minute.
Okay. So please adopt the rail yard ISR. And now let's look at all of our communities. And I want this energy to also go for the Port ISR because we will be here and we will remember and we know where you sit. So thank you.
Thank you so much. A last call for Gabriela.
Yo soy la señora Minerva Urbina.
I'm Miss Minerva Urbina
Vengo del CCAEJ.
from the CCAEJ.
Vivo cerca de las vías ferrarias.
I live close to the train tracks.
Me preocupa el medio ambiente
I'm
por
worried
mi
about the
familia,
environment, my family,
principalmente por los niños.
particularly because of the children.
Y mi preocupación es a muy temprana edad que haya muchas
My
enfermedades.
concern is that at a very young age,
Gracias.
they're suffering from many illnesses. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Sorry.
Un saludo para mamá, mi papá, bebé, eso, sí, eso, no me, uche,
Yo apoyo.
okay,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is Leticia, last call for Leticia Granillo?
Leticia, no? Well, good morning, everybody. Ana Gonzalez, representing Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice. Also, thousands of community members in San Bernardino and Riverside counties who have been overburdened for decades. We ask you to do the right thing today. Vote on Rule 2306. Stop letting us be collateral damage for the wealthy. No more diesel dead zones. Thank you.
Thank you, Ana. Daniel Garcia, last call for Daniel.
Mi nombre es Claudia Cuevas, muy buenos días. Y yo estoy
Good morning.
estoy a favor a la 2306.
Supporting
Teníamos muchas
2306.
cosas que decir como comunidad y
As a
espero que
community, we
aprueben
want to
esa
say
ley.
many things,
Gracias.
but we hope we just implement this law.
Thank you so much.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Gabriela Lovera y estoy a favor,
Good morning, I'm Gabriela
estoy
Romero.
a favor de la ley que se autorice para que tengamos un mejor ambiente.
I'm in favor of
Gracias.
this law passing, so we have a better environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hola, mi nombre es Daniel Narcia y estoy a favor de la ley 2306
I'm in the
por
Nazi,
un
I'm
futuro
supporting
mejor.
2306
Gracias.
for a better future. Thank you.
My name is Samuel Pulido. I'm from Youth in Action, and I'm just here to say that I support this. And I know that there, with companies like this, there's always someone higher up, so I trust that you guys will make a word for us, just everyone here, for our lives to improve.
Thank you so much.
Hey, good morning, y'all. I'm Nathan Carajal, he, they pronouns with ECR Community for Environmental Justice. I want y'all to vote yes on this. This should have been passed years ago. I want the Port ISR to pass this year too. So y'all better start working. The staff members better start working. We want this passed this year.
Thank you, Nathan.
Hi, I'm Emmanuel Newsom from San Bernardino. Please pass it. Let's do it.
Thank you. Last call for Rocio Aguayo. Okay. Go ahead.
Hi, Rocio Aguayo from San Bernardino, and I support the ISR too.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Magdalena Mora. I'm an educator and a resident from Haruba Valley, and I support the rule. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, I'm David Merritt. I've lived in Riverside for about 40 years, and I support it very strongly, not just for local lung health, but also for the climate. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, board. My name is Ulysses Mora. I'm an organizer in the Inland Valley region. I love my community a lot, and I'm here to support this, urging y'all to support this. Supervisor Hagman, I invite you to San Bernardino, the west side, to come have a cup of coffee with me. I will show you the toxicity that we live in so that you can see what we want to change. I think you can do it for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, Marcos Lopez, Long Beach resident and member of ECR Communities for Environmental Justice. I have two questions. One, do you think twice when leaving your window open because of the smells, pollution, and bad air quality? And two, how many of you live next to a freight corridor? I'm in support of the rail and direct source rule.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jesse Marquez. I am the founder, executive director, Coalition for a Safe Environment. Our organization we sent you our public comment letter and 10 documents of technical, factual, scientific, and medical support for this rule. If you notice in one of the documents, while others do a cursory reference to the public health impacts, our team of 5 staff and volunteers identified 77 NOx-specific public health impacts.
Thank you, Jesse.
Every piece of work available.
Thank you so much for your work on this.
Hello, members of the board. My name is Esmeralda Sanchez, and I am a San Bernardino resident and UCR student. I am here today to urge you to adopt the rail yard indirect source rule. God bless you.
Thank you.
Hi, board members. My name is Jesse Parks, recent graduate from UCR. Just here to support the ISR. And I hope you all do right by community and vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, good morning, board members. My name is Kimberly Orbe. I'm with the Sierra Club, lifelong Angelino, living in Koreatown, and have lived next to freeways, warehouses, and railways. So here to urge you to pass the rail yard ISR today. And I hope that you really took to heart everything that people said. They made time to be here, and we hope that y'all plan to stay here to the end of the vote. I'll be here in a couple of months for some other rules as well, but I urge you to vote yes on this, move this forward. And I will also urge you to, I'll personally urge you to.
Thank you so much, Kimberly.
Good morning, Chair Marvin Norman, San Bernardino, and from CCAJ. I'm also in support of the rule and also would you to address some of the comments brought up about infrastructure. Again, we remind you guys to talk with High Speed Rail and other entities that are working on Canton area as well to help get the charging infrastructure done in a way that could be used more beneficially than just the rail yards and makes more sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Marvin.
Hi, my name is Chris Smith, and I'm here to say I support the ISR.
Thank you, Chris.
Hi, my name is Dante. I'm a community organizer at England Empire Prism Collective. We're based in San Bernardino, and I'm just here to say I'm support and that queer liberation is also an environmental justice issue. So yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Max Mesa and I support the ISR.
Thank you, Max.
Hi all, my name is Joanna Silva. I'm from the city of San Bernardino. My most beloved and rowdy neighbor is BNSF, and I'm here to say I support the ISR, and we need to move forward with the Port ISR as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Irina Sandoval. I'm a resident of Huntington Park. I live next to Vernon, and I'm a member of East Yards, and I'm here to ask you to pass this regulation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Honey Bizarro. I'm here with East Yard. Can youth raise their hand, please? All youth here? This space is filled with so much youth, including myself, the next generation who has been held to the responsibility of cleaning up this planet. This youth will continue to come to these meetings and fill them up more. We all care about our planet. Please clean our air. And please, AQMD, you have full legal authority to make our lives better and to clean our air.
Thank you so much, honey. Last call for Patty. Last call for Patty.
Good morning, my name is Valerie Reyes. I'm here on behalf of Communities for a Better Environment and East Yard. I'm here to support the ISR, and I'm asking you guys, you've heard the testimonies here from the children, from the youth, from the elders, from all these communities. Please make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Paulette Bradley from Linwood, part of East Yard. I used to be an orphan, but now I got all this family, and I want you to take a look at what 80 is. So I'm asking for more time. Pass this so I can have more years to enjoy my life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paula.
Hi, everybody. Laura with East Yard Communities. Pass the rule. Gracias.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Cindy here with East Yard Communities for Environmental Justice. I have a quote that I heard earlier today by artist Al Frank, who's a Tongva Ashaman community member. And he said, if you have the sophistication to extract, to drill, refine, and harm, you have the ability and the sophistication to revitalize. Pass this rule.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ryan Calbreth with the United Electrical Radio and Machine Workers. We represent rail crew logistics drivers in the yards, taking the crews from the hotels to the yard and back, et cetera. And yeah, please support the rail yard ISR.
Thank you, Ryan. Last call for Casey.
Yes, that's me. Sorry. Good morning, everybody. My name is Casey, and as a resident of San Bernardino and also as a medical student, it was really important for me to come here today to support the ISR. There's only so much that medical care can do, and we need to stop at the source, which this ISR would do. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Angelica, and I'm a member of East Yard Communities for Environmental Justice in Long Beach, and I am here in full support for the indirect source rule. It is time to put people and the planet over profits. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Fred Hatef. I'm a union organizer on staff with United Electrical Radio and Machine Workers, and I represent the rail yard workers in San Bernardino, Long Beach, LA, and all over the district that you regulate here. And they're the first to breathe in the fumes from the rail yards, and we're here to say that, you know, they deserve to be able to do their jobs and live without having to breathe in toxic fumes, and we urge you to adopt this rule. Thank you.
Thank you. Last call for Alexia Aguilar.
Hi, my name is Alexia Aguilar Torres. I'm a San Bernardino resident and I support 2306.
Angie.
Hello, board. Chair, Angie Valderas here with People's Collective for Environmental Justice and also the co-host for AB 617 SB. Your mission statement says to clean the air and protect the health of all residents. And I hope you do just that today. Because if not, community, I want you to take a look. Some of these folks are elected officials representing your communities. So however they vote today, remember when they come and sweet talk you for your vote, remember how they
Thank you, Angie. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Josue Manuel Muñoz Velasco Quiroga Preciado. My Quiroga and Preciado great-grandmothers are buried in SoCal. It's for them and all of my family and my chosen family here today that I ask, please, that unless these corporations intend to cover the health cost of their excessive pollution in the region, it's time to regulate. Vote in favor of life, vote in favor of love, pass the rail yard ISR, and pass the port ISR. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, board. My name is Jojo. I'm with ECR Communities for Environmental Justice. Our communities need this rail yard ISR, but more than that, we need a lot of improvement to this rule. Also, we always have things to add and suggest, as you know, and we also want the port ISR to pass. And also, just a quick reminder: BNSF pocketed $1.9 billion in 2024 so far. So please don't tell us that there's no money. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kathy Ramirez, organizer with Move LA and resident of South Los Angeles. I'm well aware of the health impacts of pollution, having witnessed all my family members with different chronic conditions due to the warehouses, rail yards, and busy freeways. My mom developing cancer and one of my sisters developing asthma. And I urge you, I'm here to urge you today to go ahead and vote yes on the rail yard ISR, please. And I wanted to elevate the public comment from some community members saying that their lives are worthy.
Thank you, Kathy.
Hi, my name is Sesha and I'm with Eastern Communities for Environmental Justice. Our communities need you to pass the rail yard indirect source rule today. We also ask that you add to the rule a requirement making all rail yards zero emissions, as they will ensure health improvements in our communities and our environment. And we ask that you include community advisors to the rule to establish accountability for this rule, ensuring that the voices of our community members are heard and properly advocated for. And passing this rule is crucial for all of us in our livelihoods. And I hope that you hold all the testimonies that you heard with the responsibility.
Thank you so much. Hi, Dory.
I'm Dory Chandler with the Coalition for Clean Air and Call Long Beach my home. I'm also in agreement with everyone else here today. Reducing rail emissions has been a key component of the Air District's air quality management plan for decades, as well as CARB's MOU signed with railroads in 98 and 05. Despite these agreements, rail yard emissions continue to remain the same or worsen. We need this rule to meet our regional air quality standards. And as well as reading the AQMD, our commitments to the EPA and CARB as well. To quote my favorite.
Thank you, Dory.
Chris Chavez, a Coalition for Clean Air. Rule 2306, when fully implemented, would achieve 9 tons per day in emission reductions in the smoggiest air basin in the country. But also, more importantly, South Coast AQMD made a commitment to pass the rail ISR to multiple AB 617 communities. For those that have questions or doubts, remember, we've tried everything else. Emission markets, incentives, MOUs, none of those have worked. We need this rule today.
Thank you, Chris.
Good morning, board. My name is Al Sattler. I live next to San Pedro. For all the reasons you've heard today, please pass the ISR. As for how, keep in mind that most of the diesel trucks on the road here in LA County and elsewhere are much cleaner than most of the locomotives in the area. They could be cleaned up much more quickly with NOx and diesel particulate filters than installing
Thank you, Al.
Hi, I'm Kendra Buck, an enrolled member of the Navajo Nation, and I support the ISR.
Thank you.
I'm Adriana Rizzo, earth scientist, here with Californians for Electric Rail. We support this rule. The electric rail is the gold standard for rail around the world. The United States is way behind other countries in electrifying our railroads. This rule helps us get us closer to that. So please pass it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Luciano Buck. I support this ISR.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Yesenia Fernandez. I'm an educator for 30 years in Bell Gardens, Linwood, and now at Dominguez Hills. And I'm part of East Yard Communities for Environmental Justice. And you've heard what you need to hear. The whole reason you exist is to protect clean air and our health. And I think the community has spoken loudly that they want you to pass this ISR. The question shouldn't be if you have the capacity.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi. I urge you guys to support the ISR because this is about correcting a historical injustice. Where I live in Avocado Heights, our community was ravished by the creation of the rail yards and the impact that they had. The warehouses that sprouted along the warehouses that were owned by the rail companies. Now it's happening in the Inland Empire. So if you guys have an opportunity to pass this, do it today because we need to overturn these egregious injustices.
Thank you so much. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the vice chair for online comments.
Thanks, Madam Chair. We've got about 20 approximately online comments. We'll move ahead quickly. Remember, if you're in support, just say you're in support. First one is Yvonne Martinez Watson. Yvonne, go ahead, please.
Hello, this is Yvonne Martinez Watson. I'm an environmental justice leader with the Angeles chapter and rest of Sierra Club, California. I used to be there in these meetings before, and I can't be there in person because I'm a survivor of 2 times lung failure. We need a strong ISR for the rail yards and for the ports so that people like I will continue to stay alive. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yvonne. Next, Karen. Go ahead, Karen. You're on mute.
I'm Dr. Karen Jafar. I'm an asthmatic physician from Riverside. I've received a Clean Air Award. 13 years ago, the American Lung Association asked me to speak at a meeting of Sandbag right next to the rail yard in San Bernardino. My peak flow dropped 200 points during that meeting. That day, I personally experienced how intensely bad the air quality was right next to the rail yard. It literally took my breath away. This rule is expected to result in monetized public health benefits of $5 billion each year. Huge impact. I strongly support the rail yard ISR.
Thank you, Karen. Next speaker is Yams. Go ahead, Yams. You're on mute.
Yeah, y'all don't care about me. Y'all don't care about my story. I hope you adopt this rule. And y'all keep lowering my siblings' hands. So I just want to make sure that their comment is respected.
Thank you, Yams. Next is Dominic Benedelli.
Hello, this is Dominic Bendinelli, resident of Buena Park. I'm asking you today in memory of my late mother-in-law who passed last year from lung cancer, Patrice Elaine Higashimura. I'm asking you to please support these strong rail ISRs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker is Errol Green. Errol, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Errol Green, and I'm a PhD candidate at UCR in the Environmental Science Department. I study nitrogen pollution and the altered nitrogen cycle on natural ecosystems. And this rule is so important for our communities and for the support of sustainable and successful ecosystems. And it's necessary that you all pass the Rail ISR. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Tigran Agdayan. Tigran, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Tigran Agdayan, representing Breathe, Southern California. I would like to echo the points of my fellow advocates and community members and urge the adoption of the Rail Yard ISR. Thank you.
Thanks, Tigran. Next, Brianna Egan. Brianna, go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Brianna Egan. I'm a third-year medical student in San Bernardino County and a member of Californians for Electric Rail, for community health, for clean air, for environmental justice, for electrification of our rail yards, goods movement, and transportation system, for the patients I see every day in the Inland Empire who struggle with asthma, COPD, lung cancer, and heart disease, who struggle to keep their medications in order, who struggle to breathe. I support the rail yard indirect source rule. Please pass PR 2306. Thank you.
Thanks, Brianna. Next speaker is Molly Greenberg. Molly, go ahead. Molly, you're on mute.
Apologies. My name is Molly Greenberg. I'm the campaign manager for National Network, the Moving Forward Network, which organizes frontline and fence line communities across the country to eliminate cumulative impacts from the freight transportation system and fight for zero emission solutions. Calling on you to adopt the Rail ISR for the communities and frontline workers who have been fighting for clean air for far too long from the deadly impacts caused by the rail and locomotive industry. I also hope that the board finds a way to take in the full testimony that the community members have brought and have been fighting for in a long time. It is no small feat to come and show up and.
Thank you. Daryl Clark, go ahead, Daryl. You're on mute.
Hello, Daryl Clark, Sierra Club Transportation Chair here in Los Angeles, strongly supporting the ISR as the next step toward the railroad electrification that we desperately need. Hydrogen does not work. Pure electric rail to replace as many trucks as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Robin Warner is our next speaker. Robin, go ahead, please. You're on mute.
Hi there. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much to the staff, and thank you so much for all the commenters. I wanted to speak to the idea of communicating to the community, which was one of the issues. I want to call out Supervisor Holly Mitchell for the work they're already doing in using GIS and geospatial technologies to share with the communities. And I think that we want to use these technologies. We have the power to do these. There's issues that are going to come up, like the lithium batteries and this kind of thing, but we can face it. Los Angeles can face it, and we can lead the charge on this. So I want to offer my support.
Thank you. Next speaker is Sean Kearns with Representative Barragan's office.
Good morning, members of the governing board. Sean Kearns, Senior Field Representative with the Office of Congresswoman Barragan. As stated in the Congresswoman's letter sent to the AQMD governing board in July, she strongly supports proposed Rule 2306, the Rail Indirect Source Rule, and asks the governing board to adopt the rule today. This proposed rule would bring significant health and air quality improvements to the region, especially our frontline communities like Wilmington and West Long Beach that have been burdened for too long by rail pollution. Thank you for your work on this effort.
Thanks, Sean. Welcome, Mark. Mark, go ahead. Mark Abramowitz, you're on mute. Mark, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
My apologies.
Mark, you want to come back to you? We'll come back to you. Next is Narayan. Last name is Gopinathan.
Hi, my name is Narayan Gopinathan. I'm a doctoral candidate at UCLA studying transportation decarbonization. I encourage you to pass this rule to foster a shift to zero emission technologies. Catenary electric rail is widely used in many parts of the world, and the corporations here say it won't work. There's no reason that they can't use it here. It works here just like it can work anywhere else. So pass this rule to foster a shift to electrification. Thank you.
Thank you. Suzette Aguirre. Suzette, go ahead, please. You're on mute.
Hi, my name is Suzette Aguirre. I'm a former resident of East LA and Southeast LA. Now I'm a resident of South Los Angeles, and I'm a member of East Yard Communities for Environmental Justice. I am also an asthmatic. I'm tired of getting asthma symptoms while just sitting down doing nothing. I'm here to support the indirect source rule. Please take action today.
Thank you. Next speaker is Elise Wallace. Elise, go ahead, please. You're on mute.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Elise Wallace, and I'm the manager of health partnerships for the American Lung Association. I live and work in Los Angeles. Today, I urge board members to approve proposed rule 2306. According to the American Lung Association's 2024 State of the Air report, Los Angeles is the #1 most polluted metro area for ozone in the nation and #6 for worst annual particle pollution. Approving proposed rule 2306 would improve our regional.
Next speaker is Harvey Etter. Harvey, go ahead, please. Harvey, you're on mute. Harvey, you're on mute. Go ahead, please. Harvey, we'll come back to you. Ranji George. Ranji, go ahead, please.
This is Ranji George. I just want to thank the staff for bringing this up, but I am, even though NOx control is very important, it's an indirect benefit to the communities. We should be more talking also of the toxics and PM pollution that we reduce. Please, there was no mention about it in the whole presentation, and that's what will directly impact all these speakers who have been so articulate in voicing their concerns. So please include PM.
Next speaker is Bobby Joe. Bobby Joe, go ahead, please. Bobby, you're on mute. Bobby, you're still on mute. If you can unmute.
Yeah, sorry about that. Good evening or good afternoon, Bobby Joe Chavarria, she, her, with the Sierra Club California. I was just calling absolutely in support of the Rail ISR. I sent you all a poem. We wax poetic about how Rail has built this country, but here's what we know. They have also polluted communities, their own workers, and it is time to hold them accountable. You have the authority. We have the political will. If you can only be so brave, we appreciate you all of your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Bobby. Mark, let's try again. Mark Abramowitz. You're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you. My apologies for my earlier technical incompetence. This is Mark Abramowitz with Community Environmental Services. The rule, while it doesn't meet the promises of the AQMP, I urge you to adopt it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Harvey Etter next. Try again, Harvey. Go ahead. You're on mute again, Harvey. Harvey, please try to unmute.
Hello. Hello, am I being heard? Yes?
Yes, Harvey, go ahead, please.
Okay, there's a process problem here. All these comments for litigation in the future and for the law are evidence. And this is a case that the April issue of a Harvard Environmental Law 70-page article, and justice has been referred to justice by Congress to investigate fossil fuel companies for homicide, civil and criminal, and for covering up climate, and that includes captured agencies. There's a Nobel given in 2000.
There we go. We got two more speakers left. Last two speakers and public comments closed.
Mr. Vice Chair?
Yes.
Those last two speakers came on after the roll was closed.
Oh, they did? Okay. Then they're not. We're finished. Madam Chair, this completes our public comment virtual.
Thank you. With that, I will close the public hearing. Thank you all for coming to join us today and having your voice heard. I'm going to open it up to questions or comments from the board. And Supervisor, you had previously requested to make a motion, so I don't want to.
Yeah, I still make the motion to support staff's recommendation, but potentially there may be colleagues here that would like to speak. That's fine with me.
Okay, Supervisor Mitchell.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I want to thank all those who came to speak today. I want to thank all of those who also submitted to all of us written comments. We heard from the Congresswoman a lot of the grassroots organizations and individuals, my, Wilmington constituents who wrote handwritten letters, all of them. I want to acknowledge that. I want to say that as an elected official, as a policymaker, I bring my lived experience to the work I do every day. So let me acknowledge, as many of us, my colleagues here, that I am the mother of an asthmatic. I am the daughter and sister of victims of lung cancer. And I recognize that as the study produced by California Endowment years ago, that I too live in a zip code that will predict my life expectancy. I'm clear about that. I think as policymakers, we have a responsibility to create a sense of balance. I saw an author at the National Association of Counties last summer, Heather McGee, the author of The Sum of Us, who talks about the zero-sum game, and that we have an opportunity, I think, with today's vote to not continue to levy and bring forth policies that pit one group or community over the other. That we have a responsibility and opportunity as policymakers to elevate communities that have been left behind, who've been victims of the zero-sum game kind of way of thinking. And so I look forward to today's vote and creating new opportunities for people who have suffered far too long. I want to thank the staff for their hard work. And I want to acknowledge that many communities expressed today that they have an expectation that we keep pushing harder to create cleaner air for everyone, and that they're counting on us to really perhaps come back and strengthen this rule in the future, which I believe, could have the opportunity and the ability to do once we pass the rule today and it's affirmed through the court system, which I believe it will, because I believe that we do have the authority to regulate indirect source rules as a result of the Clean Air Act. So again, I want to acknowledge the reality of not only the people we've heard from, but the reality that many of us share as well. And look forward to voting on Mr. Supervisor's motion. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Rahman.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman. I want to also start by thanking all of the speakers who came here today. I was particularly inspired by all of the young people and the children who spoke. Thank you for coming. Thank you for making your voices heard. I think everyone in this room knows that this rule took far too long for many reasons, and that there are more rules ahead that have also taken too long for the enormity of the crisis that we're facing. But I am very, very excited that we are here today, and I want to thank the staff for their thoughtfulness in crafting a rule that I think will really move us in the direction that we need to go as a region, for taking the opportunities provided to us by CARB and really ensuring that this region gets the benefit of those rules, the full benefit of those rules, which I think without your work may not have accrued to us. And I think this rule is going to be really, really powerful in doing that. I want to just underscore how impactful this is. 9% of the region's emissions coming from this rule. I mean, it is immense. And the opportunity for impact is immense. So I'm really excited to be moving forward with this rule today, and excited also that it will allow us then to start thinking about other rules that we have in front of us that also require our time, attention, and urgency. So thank you all. Thank you, Chairwoman, for your leadership, and looking forward to supporting this rule today.
Thank you, Councilmember. Board Member Padilla Campos.
I just wanted to thank the department for that very comprehensive and clear presentation, really demonstrating the benefits for this rule and understanding the timeline. I'm from the Northeast San Fernando Valley, and rail yards are not really something that impacts our community, although we have a plethora of other things that do. So in 2022, I was privileged to go on a tour from the EJ community to really show me I was able to see, feel, and breathe what you all experience on a daily basis. And I really appreciated that. And for that reason, and hearing everybody's commentary today, I'm ready to move forward. But I also understand there's some moving pieces. And I wanted to ask this community to continue doing advocacy like we heard today. But I also understand that it's sort of difficult to put the brunt on our community members to continue this fight when it should be it should be a natural progression for all of us empowered to be able to move this forward without putting the onus on our community members. So I ask our partners in the state and in the federal government to really move this as quickly as possible so that our rule can take effect. So I wanted to thank you again, everybody here today, and the department for this rule, and looking forward to passing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member. Mayor Lock Dawson.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and sticking it out today. And I want to thank our staff at AQMD for bringing forward something that is a compromise but still effective. 9 tons is no small thing. I think it's it's a start at least. And I want to thank my fellow board members, I think, for all their thoughtfulness in this. And just one thing I want to say is Supervisor Mitchell referenced us bringing our lived experience here. That map showed the rail yards that were all kind of west of Riverside, which is where I'm from, born and raised. But we all know where that air gets trapped. We all know by geography and wind who gets the brunt of most of that. So I am happy to support this for my people and the air quality in our region. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Just want to thank the public for coming today and making your comments and being informed and engaged. Thank you to staff and thank you to my colleagues as we are poised to make a vote. I would just ask Chair, Vice Chair, and colleagues in the spirit of seeing the rule have the opportunity to see implementation, to have us direct staff to engage in dialogue with Southern California Edison to get a better idea of the forecasting they do annually as to the locations of the rail yards and what potential additional impact it would be to meeting the capacity needs, and understanding and hearing from Edison maybe early first quarter of next year as to what they see as the implications of seeing electrification needs met in a timely manner. So that's just really taking a step forward and having more information on this matter as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Supervisor Hagman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think Mayor Lock Dawson seconded the motion, but if not, I'll officially do that. But also hoping to staff and Wayne, as we go forward, what we talked about earlier for having the infrastructure available for us 10 years from now, maybe we could take some of the EPA dollars to do some master planning. As president of SCAG, we love to partner up with as large as MPO out there with you and other our CTAs to make sure that we have the ability to accomplish all these lofty goals we're doing. But with that, I'm ready to vote.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem McCallum.
Thank you very much. I just want to thank all of those that came out from San Bernardino. San Bernardino, Muscoy, Colton area is one of the most impacted areas due to rail yards. And for that reason, I was very excited when the railroads decided to come forward and work on an MOU, because I thought that was the best way we could get immediate emission reductions, which are badly needed in the San Bernardino, Muscoy, Colton area. However, the railroads pulled out of that, and as a result, we have before us the rule that we have today. I support the rule because even though I don't believe it's going to achieve in the near term the reductions that we really need now, but it's a step forward, so I will reluctantly support the rule.
Thank you. Mayor Solache.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a simple thank you to community for being here today. I represent 10 of those 20 identified areas on the left-hand side, as I represent 51 cities on this board, including my beautiful city of Linwood, Southeast Communities, Long Beach, the Port, and the San Pedro area. So I just want to amplify our voices. It's time to vote for this. Unofficially, I want to third this motion, and let's move on and vote.
All right, thank you. Last call for any other board member comments? All right, I just wanted to thank everybody here in the room, staff, all of the folks who came to speak to bring this item to us today. I'm proud to vote on this today. I actually live in one of the stars on that map. I live in Montebello and I grew up in Pico Rivera and Boyle Heights. So this is for all of us and all of our communities. And with that, I ask for a vote. All right, we have a unanimous approval.
Madam Chair, I know we have a number of other items that we need to get to. If we could ask the audience to celebrate outside
Yes.
so that we can continue with the board meeting to address the additional items.
Yes, we're still not done. We've got 25 items. Thank you for coming. Okay, consent and board calendar. All right, I love the excitement, but do we have any board member conflicts on consent items 1 through 23?
I have where is it? On.
We really ask the audience if they could please hold it down so we can continue on with the business of cleaning the air. Thank you.
On number 4. That's right there, ready to go.
I do not have a financial interest, but I'm identifying for the record that I'm a board member of the California Resources Board, which is involved in this item.
Thank you. Con todo respeto, tenemos que seguir con la junta. Si por favor pueden celebrar afuera. Nosotros queremos celebrar también para acabar el negocio. Gracias. Okay, so that was item number 4. Mayor Pro Tem McCallum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For agenda item number 9, I don't have a financial interest, but I am required to identify for the record that I am a regional council member for the Southern California Association of Governments, which is involved in this item.
Thank you. Councilmember Rahman?
Likewise, for agenda item number 9, I don't have a financial interest, but I am required to identify for the record that I am a regional council member for the Southern California Association of Governments, which is involved in this item.
Okay, Mayor Lockdawson?
Similar to Councilmember Rahman, for agenda item 9, I don't have a financial interest required to identify for the record. I'm a regional council member for the Southern California Association of Governments, which is involved in this item.
Thank you. Supervisor Perez?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. For agenda item number 4, I do not have a financial interest, but I am identifying for the record that I am a board member for the California Resources Board, which is involved in this item as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Hagman?
I'll point out number 9 too, not a financial interest, but on the regional council member, Southern California Association of Governments.
And Mayor Solache?
Same as Supervisor Hackman.
All right. With that, are there any questions or, oh, I'm sorry, there's a speaker on item 6. Does Kimberly still want to speak on item 6?
I'll move items 1 through 24, Madam Chair.
Second.
Wonderful. Okay, so I take that as Kimberly's comfortable, and so we do have 2 speakers before we can take a vote.
First speaker is Curtis Coleman. Curtis, you have a minute and a half? A minute and a half, Curtis, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Good afternoon, Chair Delgado and members of the board. I'm Kurt Coleman, Executive Director of the Southern California Air Quality Alliance. I'm speaking today on item number 8, the appropriate funds from undesignated fund balance for permitting enhancement program. Approval of this item will provide additional funding to the district's engineering and permitting group to assist in speeding up the permit review and approval process. As you may recall, last February, I, along with David Rothbart, testified regarding the need to revivify the permit streamlining task force, and we made several suggestions that we believed would do that. Our suggestions were accepted by your board and district staff. We would like to thank Wayne and Jason Aspel for not only accepting our recommendations, but embracing them. We have been very pleased by what has occurred at the Permit Streamlining Task Force meeting since then, as well as the concept of separate working groups where issues can be discussed in depth. Approval of this item will assist in the implementation of one of our recommendations, and we believe that it can result in significant debottlenecking of the permit process that has resulted due to the permit process problems that have resulted due to retirements and promotions. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. Next speaker and final speaker on this item is Ranji George. Ranji, go ahead.
Hello. Hello, this is Ranji George. I just wanted to thank the staff members on item number 5 about the hydrogen, funding for hydrogen. I noticed there's funding for the infrastructure for heavy duty. I hope when we did the hydrogen work in the late 90s, 2000, we were designing hydrogen stations that would serve both the heavy duty and the light duty. There are a lot of economies of scale involved, and so I would urge you to think out of the box to see how we can accommodate light duty. Unfortunately, the board has lost the enthusiasm for light duty vehicles for hydrogen, but I hope you can revive it. They contribute 30% to climate change issues, light duty. Even though the NOx have been reduced, the CO2 is still a major issue. So I hope we can increase the number of hydrogen stations for light duty and heavy duty in this process. So have two birds killed in one. And as far as battery technologies, these are good, but please remember the grid has to be fortified, and all of the grid upgrades have to be paid by the residents in this area. Edison is raising the rates substantially year by year, and unless you have solar panels, many of us will be paying very high rates for electric upgrades. So please keep that in mind when you compare hydrogen.
Okay, that concludes public comment. We have a motion that's been seconded for items 1 through 23. If you could please lock in a vote. All right, that is also unanimous. I don't know that we're going to get the same level of excitement over that, but let's go to item 25. All right, so it's our final public hearing, item number 25, Rule 1148.1.
Madam Chair, in the spirit of timing, if you'd like, we could waive the presentation.
No objection to that.
Yes.
Let's open the public hearing. We have one speaker, Jesse Marquez. I'm going to do a last call for Jesse Marquez to see if he still would like to speak while the vice chair is searching for online speakers. Looks like we have none. So with that, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
All right. Did you get a recording on that? Yep. Okay. With that, can you please lock in a vote? All right. And with that, our unanimous approval remains intact. Thank you all for your hard work today. Wayne, do we have closed session items that we need to go into?
We do not have closed session today. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you all for your hard work today.
Okay, that's-